Chapter 109. Jean Fatso smiled and said, I found it. It is in Savage Forest's Beast King Valley. Here is the information on Savage Forest's Beast King Valley, free of charge. This fat lord is generous, right? Xiao Chen rejoiced in his heart. He took the information on Beast King Valley from Kim Tae-ho and looked at it carefully. After a while, Xiao Chen frowned. The interior of Savage Forest was very dangerous. There were many high-ranked spirit beasts. Even martial Grand Masters could only enter from the periphery. If one wanted to enter the true core region, one had to be at least a martial saint. Furthermore, even a martial saint would not be able to move around unimpeded. Every year in Whitewater City, there would be news of martial saint experts dying in Savage Forest. According to the rumors, there were ancient savage beasts in Savage Forest. They were even more horrifying than martial kings. Beast King Valley was located in the core region of Savage Forest. It was a burial ground. When high-ranked spirit beasts reached the end of their lifespan, they would take the initiative to go there and die. That was where their faith lay. With Xiao Chen's strength, wanting to enter alone was simply a pipe dream. Against a spirit beast that was as strong as a martial saint, he would not even be able to reach Beast King Valley. He would die halfway. When Kim Tae-ho saw Xiao Chen's expression of deep thought, he smiled and said, Brother Xiao, stop thinking about it. With your strength, you will not be able to reach there. Xiao Chen thought of something and said, I will not be able to reach there with my strength. Could it be that you have some other method? Fatso chuckled and opened the golden folding fan in his hand. He smiled and said, Did you see the notice posted on the first floor of Liushang Pavilion? Xiao Chen nodded, I saw it. I have never seen such a shameless notice before. The fatty smiled awkwardly and said, How can you say that I'm shameless? It is just that there is a difference in intelligence between people. Let's not talk about this anymore. This is this fat lord's idea. After today, all the cultivators in Whitewater City will know the location of the ancient remnant. A strange look flickered in Xiao Chen's eyes as he said, Are you trying to muddy the waters? Jean Fatso smiled complacently. The fats on his chubby face jiggled continuously. That's right. The appearance of this ancient remnant treasure map has attracted many cultivators. Among them, those noble clans naturally do not care about the Jiang clan. They can directly ask for the map from him. As for the other strong cultivators, although they are very strong and are martial saints, they do not dare to offend the Jiang clan. Hence, if they want to obtain the blueprint, they can only think of other ways. This fat lord gave them a chance. Conservatively speaking, there are at least 50 martial saints who do not belong to any of the major powers that have come to Whitewater City. More than 50 martial saints in addition to an even larger number of martial Grand Masters. Such a team would definitely not be weaker than any of the major powers. Xiao Chen continued to think in his heart. With such an alluring place, not only would it attract some independent martial saints, it might even attract some martial kings, just that they are hidden somewhere. Thinking about it this way, this trip to the ancient remnant is much more dangerous than I thought. It was laughable that I thought I could go in alone at the start. That would be no different from sending myself to death. Jean Fatso continued his analysis. Think about it, if the ancient remnant really exists, who will have the last laugh? It will definitely be those noble clans. Whoever is stronger will be able to obtain the greatest benefits. For people like us who are not strong, if we want to compete with them, we can only muddy the waters. The muddier the better. That way, we will be able to fish in troubled waters. Xiao Chen thought about it carefully. It was indeed as Fatso said. For lone rangers like them, if they wanted to gain something in the ancient remnant, it was not realistic to rely on their own strength to contend with the noble clans. Do you have any empty rooms in Liushang Pavilion? I would like to rest here for 3 days. Xiao Chen made up his mind and was no longer in a rush. He might as well take this opportunity to recuperate. Last night, when he left, he was targeted by a group of Jiang clan cultivators. Although there were no martial Grand Masters, he still spent a lot of effort to deal with them. Now, he urgently needed a place where no one would disturb him to recuperate. Kim Tae-ho was a very mysterious person. Xiao Chen thought that with the background of Liushang Pavilion, he would not be afraid of the Jiang clan. Fatso smiled. Are you offering a refuge service? No problem, there is no business that this fat lord cannot do. 10,000 silver taels for a day. 10,000 silver taels for a day, that would be 30,000 silver taels for 3 days. 100 silver taels was equivalent to 1 gold tael. This fatso was really black-hearted, spending 300 gold taels just to stay for 3 days. Then never mind, I will just find a place to stay for 3 days. This was a classic case of being taken advantage of. Naturally, Xiao Chen was not willing to leave without even looking back. Fatso quickly pulled Xiao Chen back. Brother Xiao, why are you always so anxious? I have not finished speaking. Actually, I can let you stay in this room for free. Kim Tae-ho whispered something into Xiao Chen's ear. After that, he smiled wretchedly. Brother Xiao, what do you think? Xiao Chen thought for a while and said, I will give it to you in 3 days. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. All the cultivators in Whitewater City knew the location of the ancient remnant, but no one dared to go there. Although Beast King Valley was a burial ground, there might be a Beast King at the end of its lifespan that had not died yet. For a spirit beast that could enter Beast King Valley, as long as it was still breathing, it could easily kill a martial Grand Master. Furthermore, no one dared to casually enter the inner regions of Savage Forest. These people all fixed their gazes on the noble clans, hoping that they could open a path. Hope was beautiful, but reality was cruel. On this day, a black dot suddenly appeared in the southern sky of Whitewater City, flying towards Savage Forest. When the black dot neared, a huge black warship appeared in the vision of the crowd. There was a black flag on the warship, with a big G character written on it. The G clan's secret treasure, the Black Royal warship, is really flying over. They are going to clash with the Guy Marquis' golden warship. Furthermore, from the direction of the Sisui prefecture's capital, a small white dot flew over. When it neared, it was indeed a huge ice bird. On the back of the ice bird was an ice palace that gave off a cold light. The Duanmu clan's profound ice palace is flying over as well. It's over, it looks like they are preparing to descend into Beast King Valley from the sky. Damn it, I was still waiting for them to open a path. All of them are flying away from the sky. Even with your intelligence, how could these noble clans not think of something like this? They are too naive. When the many cultivators in Whitewater City saw the situation, they could no longer remain calm. They started to form groups and prepare to enter the inner regions of Savage Forest. At this moment, a few strong martial saints jumped out and called for everyone to enter Beast King Valley together. Xiao Chen stood in front of the window and looked calmly at the sky. He did not get too excited about the 3 secret treasures that were flying towards the inner regions of Savage Forest. Bang! 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 Fatso opened the door to Xiao Chen's room and walked in. Brother Xiao, the 3 days are up. Have you prepared the things? Xiao Chen did not say anything. He took out a wooden sculpture and handed it to Kim Tae-ho. Fatso received it happily and carefully placed it into a spatial ring on his hand. Xiao Chen felt excited. Although the 10 spatial rings on Fatso's hands were very gaudy, every one of them was a spatial ring. To be able to possess so many spatial rings, his strength and background were definitely not simple. Do you have any weapons or equipment that you can sell to me? Xiao Chen asked in a probing manner. The inner regions of Savage Forest were very dangerous. He had always wanted to purchase some equipment, but he could not find any channels to do so. Kim Tae-ho took out 10 arrows and chuckled. I knew you would ask this. This fat lord has already prepared them for you. 10 essence light arrows, 10,000 gold taels, no bargaining. Xiao Chen rejoiced in his heart. These essence light arrows were really prepared for him. The might of the Soul Slayer bow in his hand was extraordinary and he was lacking some arrows. With these essence light arrows, the might of the Soul Slayer bow would definitely double. However, the price was quite exorbitant. It was almost equivalent to his entire net worth. Even so, Xiao Chen did not hesitate to buy it. After all, other items could be bargained for. However, there was no room for bargaining for such a rare arrow. Every year, the Heavenly Craft Manor would only sell 1,000 essence light arrows. This was something that could not be bought even if one had money. For Fatso to be able to obtain 10, it was already very good. After paying, Xiaochen put away the essence light arrows. Suddenly, he thought of something and said, "The Earth-ranked battle armor that Yan Qianyan wore yesterday is with you, right?" Kim Tae-ho said, "What are you trying to do?" "That is not for sale. It is worth at least 1 million gold taels. Furthermore, you do not have any money on you right now." Xiaochen smiled faintly and said, "If I did not knock him out, how could you pluck him until there was nothing left? Hence, I definitely have a share of this Earth-ranked battle armor." Fatso said angrily, "Don't speak nonsense. Although this fat lord loves money, I definitely do not have any perverted hobbies. Those are just rumors." The two of them bickered for a long time. Finally, Xiaochen wrote a promissory note for 500,000 gold taels and took the Earth-ranked battle armor away. After Xiaochen left, Kim Tae-ho held the promissory note and chuckled, "Now, I have completely trapped you. After all, that battle armor is a windfall." After a while, there was the sound of footsteps. Su Xiaoxiao walked over leisurely while carrying her zither. She asked softly, "Did you give him my essence light arrows?" The fatty quickly put away the promissory note and said righteously, "According to the little girl's orders, I have already given the essence light arrow to Xiao Chen as a friend." "That's good. We should go as well." In the periphery of Savage Forest, Xiao Chen took big strides and quickly headed into the depths of Savage Forest. Along the way, there were spirit beast corpses everywhere. The spirit beast corpses that people normally fought over were now ignored. Xiao Chen even saw a few rank 3 spirit beast corpses lying on the side of the road. No one bothered to look through them. Xiao Chen stopped walking and took out a small knife. He started fiddling with the rank 3 spirit beast corpses. Even the most ordinary rank 3 spirit beast spirit core was worth at least 1,000 silver taels. Xiao Chen was currently extremely poor. He even owed Fatso a large debt. There was no need for him to be lazy to pick up money when he saw it. This person is really stupid. Now is the time to fight for time, yet he still has the time to dig out spirit cores. Furthermore, they are left behind by others. Chapter 110. Stop talking, let's go quickly. It is already very late. Later, if we find some scrap metal in the ancient remnant, we can probably sell it for hundreds of thousands of silver taels. Two cultivators who were not even superior grade martial masters walked past Xiao Chen. When they saw Xiao Chen's actions, they looked at him with disdain. Xiao Chen smiled faintly and ignored them. "I don't even know if I can make it to Beast King Valley alive. To think you are talking nonsense about the treasures in the ancient remnant. Even if you obtain it, will you be able to walk out alive?" Xiao Chen put away the spirit cores of the 3 spirit beasts and continued on his way. The spirit beast corpses in front of him were even denser. He even discovered a few rank 4 spirit beasts, allowing Xiao Chen to make a small fortune. There would not be any spirit beasts above rank 5 in the periphery of Savage Forest. Normally, it would be somewhat dangerous. However, today, with so many cultivators charging forward, there were no spirit beasts that could obstruct them. Boom! Boom! The sound of fighting reached Xiao Chen's ears. Xiao Chen extended out his spiritual sense and looked in the direction of the sound. A group of cultivators were surrounding a completely golden spirit beast. A golden holy beast. Xiao Chen said in astonishment. The spirit beast that was surrounded was a completely golden, glass-like lion. There was even a golden horn on its head. "I did not expect there to be such a holy beast," Xiao Chen said in astonishment as his heart was in great waves. However, its blood does not seem to be pure. A golden holy beast was a type of spirit beast that had existed since the ancient era. This kind of spirit beast was completely golden, even its blood was golden. The spirit core that it condensed was also of the highest quality among those of the same rank. There had always been rumors that there were ancient savage beasts in Savage Forest. However, they did not see any savage beasts. Instead, they saw a golden holy beast. It must have been due to a large number of cultivators entering the forest. Otherwise, with the spirituality of this kind of spirit beast, it would have fled before anyone could get close. However, the blood of this golden holy beast was much thinner. Its value was not that shocking. Xiao Qian was only interested in the golden horn on its head. He had never been able to find a suitable material to cast the life bestowal spell. This golden horn was the most important part of the golden holy beast, and the spirituality it contained was self-evident. Leaping onto a branch, Xiao Qian leaped all the way forward. Once he got closer to the battlefield, he began to observe carefully. There were two groups of people surrounding the golden lion. At this moment, the golden lion was about to reach its end. The atmosphere instantly became strange. The leaders of these two groups were martial saints. Each of them led a dozen cultivators dressed in different clothes. Clearly, they were a group that had been put together at the last minute. Puchi. The golden lion spat out a golden flame. The flame emitted a dazzling golden radiance as it blasted towards the leader of the group on the right. The flames were extremely powerful, but the golden lion was already injured, so the flames it spat out were not strong enough. The grey-robed martial saint expert gently clapped his hands, forming a strange chi field. The golden flames suddenly turned back and rushed towards another group of people. Caught off guard, the flames instantly burned many martial artists. Zhang He, what are you trying to do? The leader of the martial saints shouted angrily. The martial saint named Zhang He smiled coldly. What I am trying to do, isn't that what you want to do? Zhou Hongyu, don't think I don't know what you are trying to do. If you did not make a mistake earlier, would this beast be able to injure me? As the two of them spoke, they did not stop their attacks. The golden lion, which was already severely injured, was on its last breath. Occasionally, the two of them would shoot their flames at the other group. The two martial saints were fine, but the group of martial grand masters behind them were very unlucky. Occasionally, someone would get burned by the flames. Seniors, although this golden holy beast is precious, its bloodline is already diluted beyond recognition. There is no need to cause unnecessary casualties here. Indeed, we should hurry to Beast King Valley. Just pick up some scrap metal there and it would be worth more than this. The cultivators behind both sides advised. If they continued to be toyed with by these two, they might really die. Bang! After the final attack, the golden lion finally fell to the ground. Both sides looked at each other cautiously and did not move forward to touch the corpse of the spirit beast. Zhang He looked at the other party and said, Zhou Hongyu, our strengths are similar. In a short period of time, neither of us will be able to defeat the other. It is impossible for us to monopolize this golden lion. We have already delayed our fight for a long time. If we still want to go to Beast King Valley, we have to settle things here quickly. Zhou Hongyu thought for a while and said, all right, I only want this golden lion horn. I don't want anything else. Zhang He smiled, you should have said that earlier. I only want that spirit core. As for the remaining golden holy beast's flesh and blood, how about we split it with the brothers behind us? Zhou Hongyu nodded and said, the two of us will step back now. Each of us will send one person to collect the spirit core and the golden lion horn. How about that? That is exactly what I was thinking. The two of them agreed on the distribution of the golden lion and started to step back. Two cultivators walked out of the crowd with short sabers in their hands. Hu Chi. A ring of purple flames suddenly rose from the ground, forming a 2-meter-tall wall of fire. The sudden appearance of the wall of fire startled the two cultivators with short sabers. In the instant the wall of fire rose, a figure descended at the same time. With a schwa sound, the golden lion on the ground disappeared. There was a clap of thunder, and the figure brought the golden lion far away. What's going on? What happened? The thick flames blocked everyone's vision. They were unable to see what was happening inside. The two martial saints exchanged glances before they quickly chased after Xiao Qian. By the time the two of them caught up, they only saw a figure flying into the distance. Zhang, he said in disbelief, could it be a martial king expert? Zhou Hongyu's complexion turned ashen. He shook his head and said, definitely not. I can feel that person's aura. He is not even a martial grand master. He definitely has a flying martial technique. Damn it. In the end, we worked ourselves to death. To think that we worked so hard for someone else. The two of them felt incomparable regret in their hearts. If it were not for the two of them being overly suspicious, this golden holy beast would not have been taken advantage of. After Xiao Qin used the gravity spell and flew far away, he stopped. He spread out his spiritual sense in all directions. After he made sure there was no one around, he revealed an expression of joy. I did not expect that I would be able to take advantage of such a big loophole. Those two martial saints can only blame themselves. Xiao Qin revealed a joyful smile as he took out the golden lion from the universe ring. After a careful observation, he discovered that the fur on the belly of the golden lion had already turned completely white. Looking at its size, it should be a juvenile like Bai. Otherwise, it would not have been killed so easily. According to legend, spirit beasts with the golden bloodline could become at least a rank 8 spirit beast. That was equivalent to a human martial sage. Xiao Qin did not hesitate and immediately cut off the golden lion's horn. Then, he started to drain its blood. According to legend, this golden blood could be consumed directly, allowing one's cultivation to increase greatly. After using 8 porcelain bottles, the golden blood was drained. Xiao Qin started to separate the tendons and bones. Then, he took out a completely golden spirit core. The golden spirit core gave off a faint glow. Streams of golden qi that could be seen with the naked eye flew out from it. The dense spiritual energy actually leaked out like an unending stream of spring water. What a horrifying energy. Just the amount that leaked out is already so huge. Xiao Qin was astonished. If he were to absorb all of it, how huge would it be? As soon as he thought of this, Xiao Qin took out the golden spirit core and sat down cross-legged. Then, he entered a state of cultivation. Hu Qi. The golden spiritual energy was like a mist. It was directly sucked into Xiao Qin's mouth and nose. A pure and vast amount of spiritual energy gushed in like a gushing river. Xiao Qin circulated the purple thunder divine incantation and slowly digested this pure spiritual energy. The mist-like golden spiritual energy leaked out for 2 hours before it stopped. Boom! There was a crisp sound and the golden spirit core cracked and turned into countless specks of dust. When the wind blew, it completely disappeared from Xiao Qin's hand. Xiao Qin opened his eyes and shot out a piercing purple light. The purple light in his eyes flickered for a long time before it slowly disappeared. Every time Xiao Qin advanced, this purple light would appear. Xiao Qin could not understand the reason for it. The compendium of cultivation also did not explain it. Recollecting his thoughts, Xiao Qin did not continue thinking about this problem. He got up and carefully felt the energy contained in his martial spirit. His cultivation realm had risen to superior grade martial master. Unexpectedly, that golden holy beast's spirit core was a treasure. No wonder, even though it was a very diluted bloodline, the two martial saints did not even bother going to Beast King Valley and directly made a move on it. Xiao Qin calmed himself and stretched his arms and legs. Then, he quickly made his way into the depths of Savage Forest. He executed the blue dragon cloud soaring art to its limits. Dragon images appeared behind him. It was as though he was flying on flat ground. After half an hour, Xiao Qin arrived in front of a large river. As long as he crossed this river, he would officially enter the inner region of Savage Forest. However, at this moment, there was a large group of people gathered at the riverbank, cursing loudly. Xiao Qin felt it was strange. He parted the crowd and arrived at the riverbank. He finally understood what this group of people were cursing about. The only bridge that connected the inner and outer regions of Savage Forest had actually been destroyed by someone. The river was tens of meters wide, and there were water monsters bobbing up and down in the water. This blocked off the group of people at the riverbank. Ah, a miserable cry came from the river. Two cultivators who were preparing to swim over were swallowed by a strange black fish. After a while, large amounts of red blood started to seep out of the river. Xiaochen felt it was a pity. He had seen it clearly. Those two cultivators were the ones who mocked him earlier. If they picked up some scrap metal in Beast King Valley, they would be able to sell it for hundreds of thousands. Unfortunately, they did not even manage to enter the inner region of Savage Forest before dying in the river. Tong! A martial Grand Master suddenly leaped out of the river. His body soared high into the air before landing on the water. He pushed off lightly and leaped up again. The opposite riverbank was already less than 30 meters away from him. Chapter 111. As long as he pushed off the surface of the river once more, he would reach the shore safely. Thinking of this, the martial Grand Master revealed a joyful smile. Hu Chi! Just as he landed on the water for the second time, a black tentacle suddenly shot out from the water and wrapped around his legs. That martial Grand Master did not panic and reacted very quickly. He chopped out with the saber in his hand and the black tentacle immediately broke apart. Pooh! 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 The martial Grand Master regained his freedom and leaped into the air again. However, before he could fly up, countless black tentacles shot out from the water and pulled him into the water. A startled cry came out of his mouth as he struggled with all his might. However, he was still dragged into the river. Chewing sounds could be heard. Gunong! Gunong! Bubbles kept appearing on the surface of the river as pools of blood flowed out. The crowd could vaguely see a strange black fish floating out of the water. Its back was covered with tentacles of various sizes. I don't know which bastard broke the bridge. It's over. There are so many terror fishes. None of us can cross. If we want to cross, we need to be at least a martial saint. Otherwise, if we do not hold on and fly over, we will be caught by the tentacles of the terror fishes. Seeing another martial Grand Master die miserably, the crowd at the shore no longer dared to try. They all cursed the person who broke the bridge. Rushing footsteps could be heard. Zhang He and Zhou Hongyu led a large group of cultivators over. Xiaochen quickly hid himself in the crowd. When the two of them saw the bridge was broken, they did not hesitate and shouted loudly as they flew to the other side of the river. They leaped high into the air and when they landed on the water, they kicked up countless waves. Pooh! 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 Countless tentacles flew towards the two of them in the air. The two of them sent out resplendent sword chi and shattered these tentacles. After a while, the two of them landed firmly on the other side of the river under the gaze of the crowd. Then, they quickly rushed in the direction of Beast King Valley. Damn it! These two bastards, they said they would bring us to Beast King Valley. Now, they actually ran away without any sense of loyalty. The cultivators that followed the two cursed out when they saw the situation. The person next to him said angrily, "What are you scolding? You're not good people either. You're just using each other. There's nothing to say. Who are you cursing? Say it again if you have the guts." Because they could not cross the river, the cultivators on the riverbank were all very angry. Since they could not agree with each other, it quickly turned into a fight. Xiaochen couldn't be bothered with this group of people. Just as he was about to cross the river, a black dot suddenly appeared upstream. It was speeding towards them at an incredible speed. In the blink of an eye, it appeared in everyone's field of vision. That black dot was actually a black ship. The people on the shore were shocked and stopped making noise. He felt that it was extremely strange. There were many water monsters in the river, so why would a boat suddenly appear upstream? Where did this boat come from? To all the new and old customers of Liushang Pavilion, your Lord Fatty is here to save you once again. A familiar figure appeared on the bow of the ship. Kim Taeho stood at the corner of the ship, holding a golden folding fan in his hand as he spoke with a smile. Bang! The bow of the black ship stopped by the riverbank. A group of cultivators were wild with joy as they rushed towards the bow of the ship. It was like they saw a life-saving straw. Chi! Chi! Suddenly, arrows shot down from the bow of the ship. The cultivators below were startled and they all retreated to avoid them. Fatso smiled faintly. If you want to cross the river, each person has to pay 10,000 silver taels. Otherwise, there's no need to talk. After all, this Lord Fatty is just a businessman. 10,000 silver taels? Are you robbing us? It's just a trip across the river. Indeed, even robbing us is not as ruthless as you. Although the people below were clamoring ferociously, they still paid up in the end. Xiao Chen counted carefully. There were about 300 to 400 cultivators at the riverbank. Just from this trip alone, Fatso had earned more than 4 million silver taels. Xiao Chen had already expected that Fatso would rush to Savage Forest. However, he did not expect to meet him here. It was unexpected, but within reason. Xiao Chen suspected that Fatso was the one who broke the bridge. In the blink of an eye, all the people at the riverbank had left. Fatso stood at the bow of the ship and looked at Xiao Chen. He smiled and said, "Brother Xiao, come on up. I know you are out of money. This Brother Fatty will give you a ride for free." Xiao Chen did not say anything. He leaped into the air and landed on the bow of the ship. The ship immediately turned around and moved quickly to the other side. The huge ship broke through the waves, causing the fish in the water to avoid it. Kim Tae-ho parted the crowd and led Xiao Chen to the ship's hold. He said with some pride, "How is it, Brother Xiao? My ship is not bad, right?" Xiao Chen smiled faintly. Although it cannot compare to a king-grade secret treasure like the Black Royal Warship, it is at least a spirit-grade secret treasure. Fatso was startled in his heart. He smiled and said, "Brother Zhao's eyes are really sharp. How about I bring you to Beast King Valley? Of course, with our friendship, I will not charge you a fee." Xiao Chen's heart skipped a beat. Indeed, he had guessed correctly. When he saw the ship coming from upstream, he had already thought of it. Aside from entering the water from the sky, there was no other way to enter the water. "Can you bring me to the control room to take a look?" Xiao Chen asked. He really wanted to know if this legendary secret treasure was the same as the magic treasures recorded in the Compendium of Cultivation. After Xiao Chen spoke, he took out a bottle of golden holy beast blood from his universe ring and placed it in front of Fatso. Kim Tae-ho opened it and took a whiff. He smiled and said, "Sure, there is no problem. However, time is limited. Don't stay here for too long." Fatso stretched out his hand and sent out a shockwave. It struck an unknown place and a large hole immediately appeared in the floor of the hold. Xiao Chen and Fatso instantly fell into the hole. Xiao Chen turned around in the air and landed firmly. He immediately felt a familiar aura around him. He quickly closed his eyes and released his spiritual sense. A huge formation appeared in Xiao Chen's mind. Every line of the formation was hidden in various parts of the ship, giving off a green radiance. Xiao Chen opened his eyes and followed Fatso to the center of the formation. Finally, he saw the secret of the core of the secret treasure. There were many spirit stones placed around the center of the formation. A few old men were controlling the flow of the spiritual energy on the ship. Indeed, this secret treasure is a magic treasure, Xiao Chen thought in astonishment. However, the people of today seem to have forgotten how to operate a secret treasure. They actually needed spirit stones to activate it. "Let's go, Brother Xiao has already reached the shore." Xiao Chen was lost in thought when he was interrupted by Fatso. He discovered that the true function of this secret treasure was not even a tenth of its power. It was only used as a transportation tool. He felt that it was a pity. The two of them returned to the bow of the ship. When the group of cultivators saw the shore, they quickly jumped off. After everyone jumped off, Fatso waved his hand and the ship soared into the sky, heading for Beast King Valley. Damn it, it is actually a secret treasure. This Fatso is too hateful. He took more than 10,000 silver taels from us. Why didn't he send us directly to Beast King Valley? When the people below saw the situation, they all started cursing. High in the sky, Fatso stood at the bow of the ship. He felt very satisfied. He spread his arms wide open and welcomed the cool breeze. He said, "This feeling of soaring in the sky is really extraordinary." Who? Just at this moment, a large golden ship flew by quickly. It brushed past Fatso's ship and created a whirlwind. It nearly blew Fatso off the ship. Dong! Just as Fatso was about to curse, a shadow suddenly flew over his head. A wine cup fell from above and smashed into Fatso's head. Xiao Chen looked at the warship that flew over Fatso's head. He saw Hua Yunfei's figure on it. Indeed, the Hua clan's king-grade secret treasure had appeared. Damn it, when this fat lord obtains an emperor-grade secret treasure, I will kill you all. Damn it, Fatso cursed as he rubbed his head. Just at this moment, Xiao Chen noticed that there seemed to be a figure standing on a tree below. He felt that the person looked familiar. He extended his spiritual sense and discovered that it was Chu Chaoyun. Chu Chaoyun carried a sword on his back, and his long hair fluttered in the wind. He stood on the tree branch and looked into the distance. Xiao Chen felt it was strange. Those noble clans brought a large number of people and even mobilized their king-grade secret treasures. The strongest sect in Dongming province, the Misty Sword sect, only sent Chu Chaoyun. Furthermore, he came alone. This did not make sense. Suddenly, Chu Chaoyun turned his head and revealed a faint smile at Xiao Chen. It was like he was greeting him. Xiao Chen was startled. Could he have seen me? I only scanned him with my spiritual sense. Even a martial saint would not be able to detect it. Suddenly, a sword of light appeared under Chu Chaoyun's feet. It carried him through the air, flying quickly towards Fatso's warship. Wang! The sword of light disappeared and Chu Chaoyun landed firmly on the bow of the warship. Xiao Chen felt a strange sense of danger and took 3 steps back. Chu Chaoyun smiled faintly and jumped down from the bow. He said to Xiao Chen, "Brother Xiao, there is no need to be nervous. I am just here to hitch a ride." Fatso smiled coldly at the side and said, "Whose warship do you think this is? Do you think you can hitch a ride as you please?" Fatso had just suffered a series of setbacks and was in a bad mood. When he saw Chu Chaoyun arrive uninvited, he immediately made things difficult for him. Chu Chaoyun smiled faintly and walked over to Fatso. He handed over a stack of gold banknotes and said, "Your Jin clan is full of businessmen. You would not reject a business that is delivered to your doorstep, right?" Kim Tae-ho, who normally treated banknotes like his father, did not show any change in his expression. He snorted coldly and took the banknotes. Xiao Chen was astonished. He thought to himself, this Fatso must have suffered at the hands of Chu Chaoyun. Otherwise, he would not have such an expression. They flew towards Beast King Valley in silence. Along the way, Chu Chaoyun appeared very calm. Occasionally, he would chat with Xiao Chen, giving off a very relaxed feeling. However, the more relaxed he was, the more Xiao Chen felt that something was wrong. He did not know why, but the feeling that this Chu Chaoyun gave him was much more horrifying than Hua Yunfei. Boom! Boom! Suddenly, there were explosions in the sky in front. The 3 people at the bow looked forward and saw that the Guy Marquis' golden warship was fighting with a flock of huge birds. The huge birds had 3 heads. When they spread their wings, they were tens of meters wide. Of the 3 heads, 1 breathed fire, 1 breathed poison, and 1 breathed cold qi. They were all very ferocious. Chapter 112. Rank 5 Flying Spirit Beasts, 3-headed birds. This is troublesome, we might not be able to go around them, Chu Chaoyun said indifferently after he saw them clearly. Fatso's expression was grave. After a while, he said, "Let's descend, there are too many of them. I did not expect to meet such a flock of spirit beasts when we are still a few kilometers away from Beast King Valley." Chu Chaoyun frowned slightly and said, "It is too late." As soon as he finished speaking, 4 3-headed birds flew over quickly. The 3 huge birds connected together like a dark cloud, covering the sky in front of them. Bang! 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 Flames, ice, and poisonous gas rained down on the ship. A pale green halo appeared around the hull of the ship, isolating all the attacks. The fat on Fatso's face trembled as he cursed, "We are going to suffer a loss this time. We have not even reached Beast King Valley and we have already exhausted so many spirit stones." Xiao Chen thought for a while and said, "Dabao, I think I'll take another route and help you lure one away." When he was with Chu Chaoyun, Xiao Chen always felt pressured. Now that he had an opportunity to leave, he did not hesitate. Xiao Chen circulated the gravity spell and soared into the air. Then, he passed through the jade-green ring of light and flew out. Immediately, the three-headed birds all attacked him. Flames, ice, and poison, all of them attacked him. Xiao Chen executed the heavenly lightning shield and blocked all the attacks. He quickly flew forward and the four three-headed birds chased after him. "Damn, I only wanted to lure one away, not all of them," Xiao Chen said gloomily. The attacks of the four three-headed birds landed on the heavenly lightning shield in a continuous stream. Countless cracks immediately appeared on the shield. Xiao Chen's body swayed left and right in the air, like a leaf moving up and down in a strong wind. Fatso stood at the bow of the ship and watched as Xiao Chen lured away the four three-headed birds. He finally smiled and said loudly, "Brother Xiao Chen, you are too polite." Ding! A faint zither sound came from the hold of the ship. Three visible sound waves flew towards the three-headed birds like sharp swords. Pu ci. The three-headed birds cried out in pain as a severe wound appeared on their bodies. Blood sprayed out as they fell from the sky. When Fatso saw the three-headed birds returning, the smile on his face froze. A strange look flashed in Chu Chaoyun's eyes. He looked at the ship's hold and said in shock, unexpectedly, "Miss Xiao Xiao is here as well." With three-headed birds gone, the pressure on Xiao Chen lessened significantly. He executed the lightning evasion and dodged the attack of this three-headed bird. Xiao Chen checked his direction and continued flying in the direction of Beast King Valley. When he saw the golden warship in the distance, he saw a scene that would make one tremble. A person clad in golden armor emitted a resplendent golden light from his body. It was very dazzling. He held a 3-meter-long golden spear in his right hand and a 1-meter-long red short spear in his left. He leaped continuously on the three-headed bird's back, sweeping his spear around like a god of war. He fought left and right, blood spurted out in the air. He picked off the three-headed birds one by one. This is the Guy Marquis, Ing Shao. The super expert of the younger generation in the king's residence, second only to Ing Yu. Xiao Chen said with astonishment in his eyes. The strength of the three-headed birds was equivalent to a peak martial grand master. However, they were killed by Ing Shao without being able to retaliate. This person's strength was truly horrifying. The Guy Marquis in the air seemed to feel Xiao Chen's gaze. He turned his head and a pair of dragon eyes shot towards Xiao Chen like lightning. Xiao Chen did not want to cause any trouble, so he immediately flew away. After flying for half an hour, Xiao Chen could already see the silhouette of Beast King Valley from the sky. He did not want to attract too much attention, so Xiao Chen slowly descended. He saw the Duanmu clan's profound ice palace, the Ji clan's black monarch warship, and the Hua clan's warship all stopped in the air. They were being held back by some flying spirit beasts. After Xiao Chen landed, there were miserable cries coming from the surroundings. When he turned his head back to take a look, it was indeed a cultivator being torn to shreds by a spirit beast and swallowed into its stomach. The deeper he went, the more horrifying the spirit beasts in Savage Forest became. Xiao Chen carefully jumped onto a big tree and hid his aura. He waited for the spirit beast to pass before he slowly jumped down. Now that he was here, every step was filled with danger. If he was not careful, he would be killed by the spirit beasts. Xiao Chen did not dare to be careless. He extended out his spiritual sense and slowly made his way to Beast King Valley. Because the entrance to Beast King Valley was the resting place of tens of thousands of beasts, normally, there would not be any spirit beasts passing by. When Xiao Chen saw a large group of cultivators gathered at the entrance, he did not rush to enter. We finally made it here. This journey was really miserable. I saw a few martial saints die miserably. It was really scary. Indeed, that Zhang He, who led us earlier, was actually swallowed by an ancient savage beast. Why are the people of the noble clans not coming down yet? The people who just entered discovered a few beast kings that were not completely dead. They did not even have time to escape before they were killed. Fortunately, I was smart and only took a look from afar. Otherwise, I would not have been able to escape. The Golden Lion King inside is as tall as a small mountain. When sabers and swords hacked at it, they could not even break its skin. Xiao Chen blended in with the crowd and finally understood why this group of cultivators was blocking the entrance. It turned out that there were still beast kings that were not completely dead in Beast King Valley. Furthermore, there was more than one. Bang! The Guy Marquis' golden warship was the first to stop. A group of golden-armored warriors jumped off the warship. The Guy Marquis rode on a dragon-scale horse and jumped off the warship. He led the warriors into the valley. The Guy Marquis is here. Behind him are the golden armor guards of the Marquis' residence. Every one of them is a peak martial grand master. Furthermore, they all came from the battlefield. There is no need to be afraid now. Xiao Chen extended his spiritual sense to the group of people. Indeed, he could see a black aura lingering above the heads of the group of golden-armored warriors. This was the baleful aura that was formed when the stench of blood on their bodies was too heavy. Bang! The Ji clan's black royal warship also stopped. Ji Chongkong led a group of Ji clan cultivators and jumped off the warship. After a while, the Jiang clan's martial saints all jumped off as well. The Ji clan's people are here as well. Damn, so many martial saints. The 6 martial saints of the Jiang clan are all here as well. They might be the strongest among the noble clans. Bang! Bang! The people from the Hua clan and the Duanmu clan also dealt with the spirit beasts in the air. They all led their people in. Now, all the people from the noble clans were present. The cultivators at the valley entrance could no longer endure it. They all followed after them, hoping to gain some benefits. Xiao Chen noticed that there were some strong cultivators who were still able to remain calm and did not rush in. Xiao Chen was not in a rush, he did not follow them in. He locked his spiritual sense on the group of people from the Ji clan. This was because he actually saw Jiang Muheng's figure among them. He could not help but pay attention to him. After another 4 hours, almost all the cultivators at the valley entrance had entered. Xiao Chen did not wish to continue staying here. He used his spiritual sense to sense that the Ji clan had already killed a beast king past its prime. Brother Xiao Chen, wait a moment. Let's go together. Suddenly, Fatso's voice came from behind him. Xiao Chen turned around and saw Kim Taeho smiling as he shouted from behind. Beside him, Su Xiaoxiao was hugging her zither. Her pure face revealed a faint smile as well. When Xiao Chen saw Su Xiaoxiao, he was slightly stunned. He remembered that when he was attacked by the 4 three-headed birds, he seemed to have heard the sound of a zither. It seemed like Su Xiaoxiao had made a move. Many thanks to Miss Xiaoxiao for your help earlier. Xiao Chen thanked Su Xiaoxiao after the two of them walked up to each other. Su Xiaoxiao smiled tactfully. A mischievous expression appeared on her pretty face as she said, "Is young Master Xiao not afraid of lowering your intelligence?" Xiao Chen blushed with shame in his heart. This girl was indeed a creature that bore grudges. He had already forgotten what he had said to her back then. Now that he thought about it carefully, Su Xiaoxiao was actually on his side. Yan Qinyun's strength was not low. It was just that he was careless at the start and suffered a disadvantage. Hence, Xiao Chen kept attacking him. The most important thing was that he did not expect Xiao Chen to make a move in front of Su Xiaoxiao. Fatso held the golden folding fan in his hand and smiled, "Let's go in quickly. This fat lord has to at least recoup my losses this time." When Xiao Chen did not see Chu Chaoyun, he felt it was strange. He asked, "Where is Chu Chaoyun?" Fatso replied, "Let's go quickly. Don't mention that brat anymore." He left the moment we disembarked. The 3 of them crossed the valley entrance. Not long after, the huge Beast King Valley appeared before everyone's eyes. Although this Beast King Valley was called a valley, it was actually as big as a small city. Even when Xiao Chen used his spiritual sense to scan the area, he could not find the end. Everyone walked forward. There were huge skeletons everywhere on the side of the road. Fatty's eyes lit up as he looked at them. These were the bones of high-level beast kings that had passed away and remained in this world. Even after thousands of years, there were no signs of weathering. Unfortunately, these skeletons were complete. Sabers and swords could not break them, nor could they be moved. Even if they saw any treasures, they would not be able to pick them up. The towering skeletons gave off a faint pressure even from far away. Even after thousands of years, the auras left behind by these former beast kings still existed in the world. Fatso pounded his chest and said, "What a pity, there are so many bones. If we could bring them all back in one piece, even if we did not obtain any treasures from the ancient remnant, it would be worth it." Xiao Chen was a little confused as he asked, "Are these beast bones really that valuable?" "I don't think so. Even if these bones are very hard and can be used to make weapons, there are no tools to polish them." Fatso glanced at Su Xiao and smiled faintly. "Don't look down on the methods of the Heavenly Craft Manor. Of the 10 great spirit weapons forged by the Heavenly Craft Manor, 3 of them are made from the bones of a 1,000-year-old beast king. Furthermore, pure bone weapons are also extremely helpful to those who practice specific martial techniques. Furthermore, aside from forging weapons, these bones are also good supplementary materials for refining medicinal pills. If we find a smaller one later, this fat lord will personally move it back." There was even a spirit weapon made from beast bones. This greatly exceeded Xiao Chen's expectations. The 3 of them walked forward and saw a cultivator fumbling around in front of a beast bone. Chapter 113. I'm rich. I picked up a beast king's bone, that cultivator suddenly exclaimed in joy. The surrounding crowd immediately looked over. Someone at the side took a look and said, "It's the real deal. It is at least a rank 8 beast king's bone." What a horrifying spiritual pressure. I could feel it from a few meters away. Furthermore, it is just a piece of bone. Pu ci. Before the cultivator who obtained the beast bone could fade away, he was chopped in half from behind. The person who sneak attacked him grabbed the beast bone and fled frantically. When the people at the side saw this, how could they let him go? They all chased after that person. In an instant, an intense battle appeared before everyone's eyes. The last lone martial saint who passed by snatched the beast bone. After he killed tens of people, no one dared to continue fighting for it. Fatso shook his head and sighed, "Intellect. How stupid must one be to tell others so loudly that the treasure is on me? Come and snatch it." Xiao Chen also felt it was a pity. They had not found the entrance to the ancient remnant and the killing in the valley was already so intense. If they entered the ancient remnant, what would the scene be like? The 3 of them did not go far before they saw the people of the Ji clan in front. They were currently dissecting a beast king that they had killed. Fatso said in astonishment, "They actually killed a living beast king. The Ji clan has struck it rich this time. Just the beast blood alone can be sold for millions. The value of the spirit core is even more horrifying." Xiao Chen was not too astonished. Before he entered the valley, his spiritual sense was locked onto the people of the Ji clan. He had seen how they killed the beast king with his own eyes. Among them, Ji Chankong's resplendent sword that tore through the sky left a deep impression on Xiao Chen. That martial technique should have already reached Earth ranked. Let's change direction. The Jiang clan is in front, it is not easy for me to go over, Xiao Chen said to Fatso as he looked at Jiang Muheng, who was in the crowd. Fatso felt it was a pity, "I don't know if we can go up and exchange for something." "Never mind, let's go." The 3 of them changed directions and continued forward. A light exploded in the sky, and an incomparably resplendent meteor suddenly descended from the sky, landing in front of the 3 of them with a boom. After the dust settled, Ji Changkong appeared before the 3 of them. His long black hair fluttered in the wind and his eyes were as deep as the starry sky. His powerful aura pressed down on the 3 of them as he slowly walked towards them. Xiao Chen and the other 2 felt a pressure. They could not help but take a step back. They looked cautiously at Ji Changkong, who had suddenly appeared in front of them. Ji Changkong's face was like jade, he was very handsome. He pointed at Xiao Chen and said indifferently, "You stay. The two of you can leave." His voice was not loud, and he spoke slowly without any killing intent. However, his words revealed an aura that could not be rejected, and no one could question his words. Pooh! 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 Jiang Muheng led a group of Jiang clan martial grand masters and rushed over. He stood beside Ji Changkong and said, "Cousin, that damn fatso must stay behind as well." "Who?" Kim Tae-ho laughed coldly. The crowd only heard the sound of the wind and fatso picked up Jiang Muheng. In just an instant, the crowd even thought that Jiang Muheng had run into fatso's hands by himself. Pa! Kim Tae-ho grabbed Jiang Muheng's collar with his left hand and lifted him up violently. His right hand held the golden folding fan and gave him a tight slap. "Although I'm fat, that doesn't mean that anyone can say that, especially someone like you." Pa! Pa! After fatso spoke, he gave Jiang Muheng another 2 tight slaps. Jiang Muheng's right cheek instantly swelled up, and blood leaked out from the corner of his mouth. "Damn you, fatso. Put me down quickly. Otherwise, I will make you wish you were dead, I will." Before Jiang Muheng could finish speaking, the fatty ruthlessly flung him to the ground. His thick legs stomped on Jiang Muheng's face, ruthlessly stomping on it a few times. Seeing Ji Changkong block the few of them, the cultivators at the side quickly watched from afar. When they saw fatso suddenly flipping out, everyone felt incomparably shocked in their hearts. Fatso flipped out, he is indeed tyrannical. He does not even care about Ji Changkong and directly stepped on his cousin. What does Jiang Muheng count for? Even the fur of Shiha province's Yen clan's Yen Qianyun was stripped by fatso. Do you think there is anything he cannot do? Looks like the rumors are true. I wonder if Jiang Muheng will be stripped. If that is the case, it would be funny. When the words of the crowd reached fatso's ears, fatso even felt like dying. He wanted to explain that this was just a rumor, but this was clearly not the time. Did you see fatso's expression? It looks like he admitted it. Damn it, how savage. You still dare to call him fatso? Didn't you hear what he said? Whoever dares to call him fatso, he will strip off all his fur. You are finished. You are so loud, that fatso will definitely hear you. Quickly deal with it yourself. Damn it, I'm not going to say any more. If I continue, I might really be finished. When Xiao Chen and Su Xiao heard this, they both subconsciously took 3 steps back, putting some distance between them and fatso. Kim Tae-ho had a wronged expression on his face. He no longer had the tyrannical air he had earlier. He complained bitterly, "Can you guys be more loyal? Kim Tae-ho, quickly let go of my son. I do not have any grudges with you. I will not take back the street in the east of the city. I will not make things difficult for you." The Jiang clan's clan head, Jiang Mingxuan, hurried over and shouted when he saw Jiang Muheng being stepped on by Kim Tae-ho. When Jiang Muheng heard Jiang Mingxuan's voice, he became very agitated. His head struggled under fatso's foot. Finally, he opened his mouth and took a deep breath. He said loudly, "Father, you have to save me. This fatso is a pervert." Yen Qianyun fatso was extremely frustrated. When he heard Jiang Muheng's words, he kicked him into the air. Then, he used his palm as a saber and knocked him unconscious. Jiang Mingxuan felt very anxious and rushed forward. Fatso grabbed Jiang Muheng's neck and glared at Jiang Mingxuan. Feeling that murderous gaze, Jiang Mingxuan quickly stopped. Boom! Ji Changkong, who had been silent all this while, suddenly moved. A black figure suddenly appeared in front of fatso. That figure used his fingers as a sword and aimed for Kim Tae-ho's eyes. Who? The golden folding fan in Kim Tae-ho's hand opened up with a schwa sound. A golden figure appeared behind him. That figure was dressed like a scholar. He was also holding a golden folding fan in his hand. The instant the scholar appeared, the might of an ancient sage spread out in all directions. The surrounding cultivators all felt a righteous aura. Boom! The scholar gently waved the folding fan in his hand, sending out a wave of energy. The black figure in front of the fatty was immediately sent flying backward, exploding into a bloody shadow in the air. That is the weapon of an ancient sage. There is actually a trace of a Tao image left in it. How horrifying! Ji Changkong's external incarnation was actually destroyed in an instant with just a gentle wave. Ji Changkong's expression did not change. However, he was somewhat astonished in his heart. He did not expect that this incomparably tacky fatso would actually have a treasure on him. Furthermore, looking at his attire, those gorgeous ornaments could very well be treasures. Fatso carried Jiang Muheng on his shoulder. He looked at Ji Changkong and said, I do not care about the grudges between you and Xiao Chen. After we leave Beast King Valley, you can do whatever you want. However, as long as he is in Beast King Valley, he is my companion. Leave Jiang Muheng with me for a period of time. After we leave Beast King Valley, I will return him to you. After Kim Taeho spoke, he brought Xiao Chen and Ji Changkong and left in another direction. Jiang Mingxian and the others looked at Xiao Chen's back. Their hearts burned with rage, but there was nothing they could do. If they tried to forcefully take down this group of people, Jiang Muheng would definitely be killed immediately. This fatso is really tyrannical. He is not even afraid of Ji Changkong. What a pity for the Jiang clan. They only have one son, and he is going to be ruined by fatso. Of all the people they could offend, they just had to offend this fatso. Let's not talk about this anymore. That fatso has not gone far yet. Lower your voice. In a secluded area of Beast King Valley, Kim Taeho casually tossed Jiang Muheng to the ground and started fiddling with his body. Xiao Chen and Su Xiaoxiao thought of the rumors they heard earlier. The two of them tacitly moved to the side. After a while, fatso scolded, Pauper, you have nothing. Seeing Xiao Chen and Su Xiaoxiao move to the side, fatso quickly carried Jiang Muheng and chased after them. He explained, I say, can you not look at me with such a strange gaze? Those are just rumors. Xiao Chen smiled faintly, I know. It is just that there are differences in intelligence between people. They are unable to understand you. That's more like it. Fatso said happily. After a while, he felt that something was wrong. Why do I feel that your words are mocking me? Xiao Chen listened for a while and said, stop messing around. I heard the sounds of fighting. Maybe some noble clan is killing the Beast King. Let's see if we can take advantage of it. Fatso looked in the direction Xiao Chen pointed and listened for a while. He said, why did I not hear anything? Never mind, I believe you. However, what about the person I am carrying? Xiao Chen thought for a while before placing the universe ring on Jiang Muheng's body. With a thought, he stored Jiang Muheng inside with a so sound. When Kim Taeho and Su Xiaoxiao saw this, they were astonished. Fatso said in astonishment, what kind of spatial ring is this? How can it store a living person? Xiao Chen did not explain much, just treat it as a secret treasure. Xiao Chen led the way forward. Along the way, they could see battles taking place everywhere. As long as they found a piece of Beast King bone, there would be a fight over it. Fatso was a little depressed as he said, there are so many people picking up the scattered Beast King bones. Why can't this fat lord find any? Xiao Chen smiled and did not say anything. He kept his spiritual sense extended out. He saw that Fatso had stepped on at least 3 pieces of Beast King bones, but he did not discover any. Bang! Bang! The 3 of them finally saw the source of the sounds of fighting. The Gi Marquis, Ing Shao, was leading his 200 golden armored warriors, fighting against a golden lion king the size of a small mountain. Xiao Chen's heart skipped a beat. He thought back to the infant golden lion that he met in the periphery of Savage Forest. Just the spiritual energy contained in the infant spirit core allowed Xiao Chen to raise his cultivation by 1 realm. Chapter 114. This golden lion king was the size of a small mountain. The amount of spiritual energy contained in its inner core was definitely horrifying to a shocking level. Fatso's eyes lit up as he said excitedly, "Golden holy beast. It really is a golden holy beast." Su Xiao countered, "Don't think too much. The Guy Marquis' 200 golden armored warriors are all peak martial grand masters. Furthermore, they have fought on the battlefield before. The most important thing is that they are wearing earth-ranked battle armor and superior-grade profound-ranked spirit weapons forged by the heavenly craft manner. Although they do not have a martial saint, they should be the strongest of all the powers." Xiao Chen was incomparably astonished. Over 200 elite spirit weapons and battle armor, how horrifying was that? The battle armor that Yan Qianyun wore was only earth-ranked. Furthermore, he was a scion of a noble clan. These 200 golden armored warriors were actually all wearing earth-ranked battle armor. Just thinking about it caused one to tremble in fear. No wonder the Guy Marquis only brought 200 golden armored warriors. With just this, he could move unhindered in Beast King Valley. Ha! As the three of them were speaking, the Guy Marquis, Ing Shao, who was riding on his dragon scale horse, suddenly shouted loudly. He galloped towards the golden lion king, kicking up a cloud of dust. Man and horse became one. He moved as fast as lightning, disappearing in an instant. In the next moment, he arrived in front of the golden lion king. The 3-meter-long golden spear in his right hand carried a huge force as it smashed violently into the golden lion king's chest. Boom! The three of them saw an extremely majestic scene. The Guy Marquis riding on his dragon scale horse was only 2 meters tall. In front of the small mountain-like lion king, he was pitifully small. However, at this moment, he was able to send the golden lion king flying. This was a very terrifying spear power. How strong was the power contained in the spear to be able to send the golden lion king, which was like a small mountain, flying? Bang! The golden lion king landed heavily on the ground and gave off a loud sound, causing the ground to tremble. Before it could stand up, the 200 golden armored warriors under the Guy Marquis immediately surrounded it. Xiao Chen felt that it was a pity. He knew that in the face of this absolute power, he had no chance at all. He quickly led Fatso and the others forward. Before Xiao Chen left, he felt the Guy Marquis' lightning-like gaze looking at him again. After the three of them walked for a long time, Fatso grumbled, "This Beast King Valley is too big. If we continue searching like this, who knows how long it will take to find the entrance to the ancient remnant." Rumble. As Fatso was speaking, a series of continuous loud noises came from a distant mountain wall. A gust of cold wind suddenly swept through the entire valley. Everyone felt a chill in their hearts. The entrance to the ancient remnant must have opened. It's the Duanmu family. I saw them heading in that direction. At this moment, everyone stopped what they were doing and looked at the mountain wall in the distance. Thud. 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 The Guy Marquis rode on his dragon scale horse and led the 200 golden armored warriors past the three of them. They actually gave up on the golden lion king that they were about to obtain and headed straight for the mountain wall. Everyone's expression became extremely excited as they headed for the mountain wall. They were afraid that if they were too slow, the treasures in the ancient remnant would be snatched away by others. Xiao Chen thought of something and turned around. He said, "Let's go and take a look at that golden lion king. There is no rush to go to the ancient remnant." Fatso chuckled, "That's exactly what I was thinking." When the three of them returned to the place where the golden lion king was, they saw dozens of cultivators had the same thoughts as them. They were currently surrounding and killing the golden lion king. Many martial masters hacked at the golden lion king with their weapons. Metallic sounds resounded continuously. Its golden skin was like metal, there was not even a scratch on it. Hu Chi. A strand of golden flame descended from the sky. The cultivators on the ground were immediately burned to a pile of ashes. They did not even have the chance to resist. When the remaining cultivators saw the situation, they all gave up. Xiao Chen somewhat understood the reason why the Guy Marquis gave up. Although this golden lion king was past its prime and its movements were slow, its skin was like steel. Sabers and arrows were unable to injure it at all. When Kim Tae-ho saw the situation, he frowned and said, "Why is this fellow's skin so thick? How are we going to attack it?" Xiao Chen measured carefully. This golden lion king was about 50 meters tall. He looked at the place where the Guy Marquis' spear had pierced at. There was a shallow wound there, and a trace of faint golden blood was slowly flowing out. Su Xiaoxiao, who had been silent all this while, suddenly opened her mouth. There is still a chance. The life force in its body is rapidly disappearing. Furthermore, its internal injuries are very severe. Although the Guy Marquis group did not manage to injure its skin, the force of the spirit weapons managed to injure its body. Xiao Chen took out the Soul Slayer bow from the universe ring and knocked an essence light arrow. He drew the bow into the shape of a full moon and aimed the arrow at the small wound on the golden lion king's chest. The arrow gave off a faint glow. Xiao Chen could feel the horrifying force contained in it. This essence light arrow was able to damage his superior grade profound ranked battle armor in the past. It should not disappoint him now. Hu Qi. The essence light arrow buzzed in the air and shot out. In an instant, it pierced through the golden lion king's body, causing a stream of golden blood to spurt out. Ding! Ding! Yellow Spring's 9 Deaths Song. Yellow Spring's 9 Deaths Song. Su Xiaoxiao gently stroked her zither and a majestic tune of a powerful army burst out. The grass and trees in the valley trembled and the wind howled. It was as though there were thousands of soldiers and horses roaring, reverberating in the valley. Within the valley, countless heroic spirits appeared behind Su Xiaoxiao. Su Xiaoxiao's zither music rose continuously. The army of heroic spirits rode on horses, as though they were coming out from the underworld river, rushing towards the golden lion king. Xiao Chen executed the lightning evasion and flashed into the air. He caught the essence light arrow in his hand and the lunar shadow saber suddenly appeared in his hand. Countless arcs of electricity leaped around it. Pu Ci. Xiao Chen held the lunar shadow saber and stabbed it violently into the wound that the essence light arrow pierced through. Instantly, golden blood spurted out and splashed onto Xiao Chen's face. The electricity on the lunar shadow saber directly entered the golden lion king's body. The golden lion king cried out in pain and its body trembled violently. A huge force came from its back and Xiao Chen was immediately flung off. Who? The golden lion king spat out a huge clump of golden flames at Su Xiaoxiao. Then, it sprinted as though it was in the final moments of its life. Its speed was incomparably agile. Fatso opened the golden folding fan in his hand and a golden figure appeared again. He fanned the flames ferociously and sent them flying. The army of heroic spirits brandished their spears and sabers and pierced through the golden lion king's body. Every time a heroic spirit pierced through it, the golden lion king's speed would slow down. It was as though a portion of its life force was being drained away. When the army of heroic spirits pierced through the golden lion king's body, it came to a complete stop. It was only 2 meters away from Su Xiaoxiao. Su Xiaoxiao's hands, which were playing the zither, suddenly stopped. The indistinct tune reverberating in the valley suddenly turned silent. Even the sound of the wind seemed to have stopped. Dong! A high-pitched tune suddenly resounded and a strong wind blew. Su Xiaoxiao's clothes fluttered and her fine black hair fluttered. A formless energy sent the golden lion king flying. Descending divine dragon chop. High up in the sky, Xiao Chen streaked through the air like a meteor and struck the back of the golden lion king. There was a loud bang, and the mountain-like body of the golden lion king knelt down. The golden lion king let out a painful wail. The three of them could feel its life force rapidly draining away. This golden lion king, which was already past its prime, was about to pass away. Just when the three of them were feeling relaxed, a human figure suddenly flew over from a distant place. He was like a longsword as he streaked across the sky with a terrifying sword image. With a loud sound, he followed the small wound caused by the primary light arrow earlier and directly penetrated the golden lion king's body. Boom! There was another loud sound and he came out of the Golden Lion King's body. He was holding a golden spirit core the size of a basketball in his hand. This time, the Golden Lion King was thoroughly dead. Golden blood spurted out from the huge wound like raindrops. When it fell into the valley, it made dripping sounds. Chu Chaoyun! Xiao Chen exclaimed in astonishment when he saw this person's figure clearly. Chu Chaoyun smiled faintly. The golden spirit core in his hand emitted a golden spiritual energy that soared into the sky, forming a golden ribbon. When the countless spirit beasts in the surroundings saw the spiritual energy, they flew over frantically. With a satisfied smile, Chu Chaoyun stored the golden spirit core in his spatial ring. He looked at Xiao Chen and said, "I'm borrowing it. I will return it in the future." A sword of light appeared under Xiao Chen's feet. He rode the sword and flew off into the distance. Xiao Chen was extremely furious in his heart. This Chu Chaoyun was too despicable. Everyone worked hard for a long time, and he took away the most valuable spirit core of the Golden Lion King. Xiao Chen was very dissatisfied with the fact that he only said he was borrowing it and then flew far away. He was clearer than anyone about the horrifying spiritual energy contained in the spirit core. He used the gravity spell and chased after it. "Brother Xiao, don't chase after him." Fatso shouted from the ground, "It's over. Xiao Chen is not a match for Chu Chaoyun. If we chase after him like this, it will be disastrous." Su Xiaoxiao's complexion was slightly pale. She had exhausted a lot of essence and mental energy after playing the Yellow Springs 9 Deaths song. She looked in the direction Xiao Chen left and said, "There is no need to shout. Chu Chaoyun will not make a move on him." Fatso said hatefully, "This bastard. This is not the first time he did this. There will be a day when he will fall into this fat lord's hands." On a flat ground in the valley, Chu Chaoyun suddenly stopped and slowly landed on the ground. He looked at Xiao Chen who was following behind him and said, "Brother Xiao, it was my fault for taking your spirit core today. I will return this favor to you in the future." After Xiao Chen landed, he said indifferently, "If you want to take it, then take it. If you want to borrow it, then borrow it. Have you asked for my permission?" Xiao Chen held the lunar shadow saber tightly as he stared at Chu Chaoyun. This Chu Chaoyun gave him a very dangerous feeling. If it were not for the fact that he was too angry, he would not have gone against this person. Chu Chaoyun smiled gently. "In this world, it has always been the law of the jungle. The strong are respected. I borrowed it, so be it. Xiao Chen, I really do not need your permission." Chapter 115. Lightning Evasion. There was a flash of light and Xiao Chen appeared beside Chu Chaoyun. He executed drawing the saber and a saber light flickered. The lunar shadow saber quickly slashed at Chu Chaoyun's chest. Bang! Chu Chaoyun turned around gently and used his finger as a sword. A light appeared on his finger and blocked Xiao Chen's saber. There was a metallic sound as he blocked Xiao Chen's saber. After the first move of the rushing thunder saber technique was blocked, there was no way to execute the subsequent moves. Xiao Chen quickly changed his move. He shouted, "Flight on wings, disordered dance of 1,000 years. Bang! 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 Bang!" Xiao Chen's figure quickly changed positions in the air. Countless saber lights flashed as they hacked at Chu Chaoyun. Chu Chaoyun stood on the ground without moving at all. He used his finger as a sword and countless sword chi suddenly appeared. This flight on wings was a martial technique of the Misty Sword sect. Chu Chaoyun was very familiar with it. When he saw Xiao Chen execute this move, although he was astonished, he did not panic. The sword chi arrived first despite being launched later. It danced chaotically in the wind and actually forced Xiao Chen to switch from offense to defense. The saber lights danced around continuously, neutralizing the sword chi that were flying at him. The two of them exchanged more than 1,000 moves. Their essence was greatly exhausted. After the disordered dance of 1,000 years was executed, Xiao Chen retreated backward. He executed the blue dragon cloud soaring art and leaped into the sky. Flight on wings, moon bright like fire. A mysterious phenomenon appeared in the sky. The boundless night suddenly covered the blazing sun in the sky. A full moon slowly rose in the sky, giving off a gentle glow. Chu Chaoyun frowned slightly. He said in astonishment, "It is already very shocking that he can execute our sex-disordered dance of 1,000 years. How is it that he can even execute moon bright like fire?" Chu Chaoyun revealed a cautious expression. He knew the might of moon bright like fire. Back then, that sword saint had used this move to kill a great emperor. But soon, a relaxed expression appeared on his face. Xiao Chen had not comprehended the true essence of this move at all. There were many flaws in the phenomenon. "Are you trying to show off before an expert?" Chu Chaoyun said with a faint smile. "Gotcha." Suddenly, a golden light shone in the dark night. Chu Chaoyun slowly drew the sword on his back by an inch. In an instant, golden light burst forth, and endless light violently burst forth from the 1-inch sword. Saint weapon, the sword on his back is actually a saint weapon. When Xiao Chen saw the piercing golden light, he was extremely astonished. However, the mysterious phenomenon had already appeared. There was no longer any chance for him to stop, he could only go all out. Chu Chaoyun stood upright with his hands behind his back. He looked indifferently at Xiao Chen in the air and snorted coldly. The sword on his back returned to its scabbard. A surging golden light shot out from all directions, turning into boundless sword images. The night that covered the entire sky was like glass, countless cracks appeared on it. After a while, there were countless crisp sounds and the night completely disappeared. The full moon returned to nothingness before it could even rise. Sunlight shone on the ground once again. With the mysterious phenomenon broken, Xiao Chen vomited a mouthful of blood. His face was extremely pale. He staggered a few times and nearly fell to the ground. When the mysterious phenomenon was broken, the sword technique would rebound. This was the most serious internal injury a cultivator could suffer. Back then, Zhang He had been crippled by Xiao Chen after his mysterious phenomenon was broken. Chu Chaoyun leaped up gently and slowly walked over to Xiao Chen. He said, "I know you still have trump cards that you have not used yet. However, I do not have any intentions of killing you. At least, not now. I hope you will not do anything foolish. Do not use the same move that you used on Hua Yunfei on me. This world is very big and very exciting. However, only those who are alive can experience this excitement. The one who laughs in the end is the true hero." After Chu Chaoyun spoke, a sword of light appeared under his feet. He rode on the sword and quickly disappeared into the horizon. Xiao Chen consumed a blood-replenishing pill and a qi-returning pill. As he watched Chu Chaoyun disappear, he smiled bitterly to himself. This was the first time he had been defeated in such a miserable manner. His opponent had not even made a move, he had destroyed him with just half a move. Sitting cross-legged, Xiao Chen slowly circulated the purple thunder divine incantation, digesting the medicinal energy in his body. After a while, when the medicinal energy had completely permeated his body, his injuries were more or less healed. Xiao Chen did not hesitate and rushed back. Although he had taken away the most precious part of the Golden Lion King, the other parts of it were still valuable. This was especially so for the lion horn on its head that had existed for several hundred years. Hua Yunfei, who was rushing towards the entrance of the ancient remnant, suddenly saw Xiao Chen's rapidly running figure. He frowned slightly and said in astonishment, after not seeing him for such a short period of time, he actually advanced to peak martial master. This person cannot be left alive. The two of you, go and take that person's head. I will wait for you in the ancient remnant. Hua Yunfei said to the two peak martial grand masters behind him. He felt it was a pity that they were going to explore the ancient remnant and could not do it themselves. Yes. The two of them obeyed and rushed in the direction of Xiao Chen. In Beast King Valley, Xiao Chen kept his spiritual sense extended out. The first thing he discovered was Hua Yunfei's figure. He had already planned to go around him, but he did not expect to be discovered in advance. Seeing the two martial grand masters behind him, the corner of Xiao Chen's mouth curled up into a cold smile. He executed the blue dragon cloud soaring art to its limits, doubling his speed once again. He instantly shook off the two of them. Where is he? Where did he run to? I clearly saw him running in this direction. He might be hiding. Let's split up and search. The two of them could sense that Xiao Chen had suddenly disappeared. They could not help but be astonished. Pu ci. An arrow flashed by like a gust of wind. Before one of the martial Grand Masters could react, an essence light arrow pierced through his heart from the back, killing him. When the other martial Grand Master saw Xiao Chen suddenly appear behind him, he was startled. When he saw that Xiao Chen was holding the Soul Slayer bow and essence light arrow, he immediately fled without looking back. Xiao Chen looked in the direction that person fled, but he did not give chase. He picked up the essence light arrow on the ground and started to search the body of the martial Grand Master. The status of this martial Grand Master was not low in the eyes of the Hua clan. Xiao Chen found 1,000 gold taels banknote, a rank 4 body tempering pill, and a profound ranked martial technique, clear wind chop. Xiao Chen smiled in satisfaction, his gloomy mood finally improved. This martial Grand Master of the Jiang clan died unjustly. Xiao Chen used the Soul Slayer bow and essence light arrow to sneak attack him from behind and kill him. If it was a head-on fight, Xiao Chen would need at least 500 moves to defeat this person. Clear wind chop. Xiao Chen flipped through it. It was a martial technique related to the saber. A profound ranked martial technique was already of a very high rank. In some clans, it could be treated as a family heirloom. Only a noble clan like the Hua clan would have a follower with a profound ranked martial technique. Such a thing was unimaginable to other clans. After an hour, Xiao Chen returned to the place where the Golden Lion King died. However, he discovered that Fatso's movements were extremely fast. That Golden Lion King was only left with a complete golden skeleton. When Kim Tae-ho saw Xiao Chen return, he handed him a golden lion horn and said, "I've taken the blood and fur of this golden holy beast. Miss Xiao Xiao wants this skeleton, and this lion horn is for you. I forgot to tell you, that Chu Chaoyun has a holy weapon on him. Within the same cultivation realm, no one is a match for him. Even an inferior grade martial saint would be defeated by him. Did you not hear me when I told you not to chase?" Xiao Chen smiled faintly and received the golden lion horn. He looked at the huge golden skeleton and said, "How are we going to transport this thing back? Even if we want to transport it to the ship, we have to think of a way to move it up." Fatso smiled and said, "You don't have to worry about this. Miss Xiao Xiao will have a way." Su Xiao Xiao smiled gently, tacitly agreeing to this. Although Xiao Chen was suspicious of what Su Xiao Xiao wanted this golden skeleton for, he did not ask in the end. After splitting the loot, Kim Tae-ho was in a good mood. He said boldly, "Come, this fat lord will bring you to the ancient remnant to dig for treasures." At the entrance of the ancient remnant, Hua Yunfei saw the martial Grand Master running back with his tail between his legs. He flew into a rage. "I have never seen such trash like you." A peak martial Grand Master was scared off by a superior grade martial master. That martial Grand Master lowered his head and knelt on the ground, not daring to say anything. This matter was indeed embarrassing. However, if it was not for Xiao Chen having the Soul Slayer bow and essence light arrows, he would not have run. Hua Yunfei thought for a while before saying in a sullen voice, "You 5 martial Grand Masters, stay here. If you are not able to take down that brat, you can forget about returning to the Ji clan." This time, he only brought 6 martial saints and 5 martial Grand Masters. Martial saints had strong combat prowess. Such strength could be said to be the weakest among the noble clans. It was hard to guarantee what would happen in the ancient remnant. Hua Yunfei did not dare to leave the martial saints behind. Leaving behind 5 martial Grand Masters was already his limit. Using 5 peak martial Grand Masters to deal with Xiao Chen, a superior grade martial master, Hua Yunfei thought too highly of Xiao Chen. Under Fatso's lead, Xiao Chen and the other 2 walked towards the entrance of the ancient remnant. Along the way, Xiao Chen took out the golden lion king's horn that Fatso had given him and started carving it as they walked. Su Xiaoxiao, Kim Tae-ho, and Su Xiaoxiao found Xiao Chen's actions strange. Kim Tae-ho could not help but ask a few times. It would be a waste to carve the golden lion king's horn. Xiao Chen smiled and did not explain. There were too many unknown dangers in the ancient remnant. The battle with Chu Chaoyun earlier had given Xiao Chen a sense of pressure. He needed a trump card that he could use as a trump card. Unfortunately, he had already executed the heaven-ranked martial technique, Blue Dragon Goes to Sea twice. If he were to forcefully execute it again, he would definitely explode and die. Otherwise, he could use it as a strong trump card. Now, the only thing he could rely on was the life bestowal spell. Xiao Chen focused on carving the bone sculpture in his hands. He carefully recalled every move of the Golden Lion King in his mind. We have arrived. Fatso stopped walking and looked at the 10-meter-tall hole in the mountain wall. There were many stone fragments at the bottom of the hole. The dark hole made it difficult for them to see what was inside. A cold chi blew out from the hole. Everyone felt their hair stand on end. This was a chill that reached deep into their hearts. Xiao Chen extended his spiritual sense into the hole. However, he discovered a formless barrier that prevented his spiritual sense from entering. This situation was exactly the same as what Xiao Chen had encountered in Gloomy Forest. Chapter 116. However, this time, the obstruction that Xiao Chen met was even stronger than the one in Gloomy Forest. He used his spiritual sense to form a golden spear, but it still did not budge at all. Fatso said with some fear, "Why do I feel that this hole leads to a grave? This is too strange." Xiao Chen smiled faintly. Perhaps it really is a grave. Isn't the place where the ancient powerhouses passed away where they died? It is no different from a grave. Suddenly, Su Xiaoxiao said, "Someone is targeting us. They are all experts." Xiao Chen frowned and his spiritual sense turned into a ring of light. He extended it into the surroundings and said after a while, "It is the Hua clan's people. There is a total of 5 peak martial grand masters." Just as Xiao Chen spoke, a nameless martial grand master leaped out from behind and formed a semicircle, surrounding the 3 of them. When the leader saw Xiao Chen and Kim Tae-ho together, he was somewhat surprised. "The 2 of you, please step back. Our Hua clan, lightning evasion." Xiao Chen shouted and appeared beside that martial grand master. Electricity leaped on the lunar shadow saber as he executed drawing the saber, forcing the person who spoke to swallow his words. Fatso cursed, "If I follow this brat, I discover that sooner or later, I will offend all the noble clans." "Kill." Su Xiaoxiao said indifferently. Her figure flashed in the air and her jade-like slender hands gently strummed the zither strings. The person who spoke first did not expect Xiao Chen to be so overbearing. He did not even give him a chance to speak before he hacked at him. Pu Ci. His body flew backward, but Xiao Chen's lunar shadow saber still left a wound on his chest. The surging electricity on the lunar shadow saber instantly entered his body, slowing his movements. Arc light chop. The saber drew an arc in the air. The area 3 meters in front of Xiao Chen was enveloped by this arc. The martial grand master's body was suppressed by the electric light. His speed became extremely slow. Before he could react, he was sliced in half by this arc. A peak martial grand master was killed by Xiao Chen in 2 saber strikes because of a mistake. This was the power of the rushing thunder saber technique. As long as one could execute the first saber strike, even if one was a realm higher than Xiao Chen, one saber strike would be able to kill them. Side attack. Xiao Chen gently turned around, tilted his body, and ferociously slammed forward. The cultivator who was rushing behind him was immediately struck in the chest by Xiao Chen's right shoulder. That person was originally helping the martial grand master earlier to surround Xiao Chen, forming a pincer attack. However, he did not expect Xiao Chen to kill a peak martial grand master in 2 moves before turning around to attack him. Caught off guard, he was immediately knocked back by Xiao Chen. He had to take 2 steps back before he could mitigate this horrifying force. He said with lingering fear in his heart, what a horrifying physical body. Xiao Chen took 2 steps forward and punched with his right hand. The wind howled and thunder roared. That person had not yet stabilized himself. The surging qi and blood in his body had not calmed down yet, so he had no choice but to use his palm to block. There was a series of crackling sounds. Xiao Chen's body, which had been tempered by the heavenly lightning and the 7 leaf flowers, smashed that person's right hand into a pile of mush. Ah, that person cried out in pain. When he saw his shattered right hand, his face was filled with astonishment. A saber light flashed, and while he was distracted, Xiao Chen used drawing the saber and chopped him in half. Xiao Chen was expressionless as he took out the Soul Slayer bow and knocked an essence light arrow. A huge force was transmitted from his body to his right hand as he drew the Soul Slayer bow into the shape of a full moon. He aimed it at the martial Grand Master fighting with Kim Tae-ho. That martial Grand Master felt a killing intent coming from behind him. He quickly shook off Kim Tae-ho and leaped to the side. Xiao Chen closed his eyes and used his spiritual sense to make a mark on that martial Grand Master's heart. Pu Ci. The essence light arrow left the bow and turned into a beam of light. It pierced through the mark that Xiao Chen made. That martial Grand Master vomited a mouthful of blood and fell to the ground. Shwa! Shwa! Xiao Chen's hands moved continuously, and another 2 essence light arrows were shot out. The remaining 2 martial Grand Masters died one after the other. They were unable to resist at all. Fatso, who was at the side, exclaimed, "This Soul Slayer bow is really abnormal. Whoever it shoots will die. This fellow is also abnormal. I heard that pulling the Soul Slayer bow requires 500 kilograms of force." Unexpectedly, he was able to shoot 3 arrows consecutively. Su Xiao hugged her zither, and there was a look of astonishment in her beautiful eyes. The potential of the Soul Slayer bow is not limited to this. As long as the user's physical body is strong enough, it is not impossible to break through 5,000 kilograms of force. Back then, the previous Manor Lord of the Heavenly Craft Manor spent his entire life creating the Soul Slayer bow. However, he discovered that no one could pull it. This was because essence could not be used. One could only rely on the strength of the physical body. After the old Manor Lord passed away, the new Manor Lord directly sold this Soul Slayer bow for a cheap price. I wonder what expression they would have if they saw the current situation. Fatso felt suspicious as he asked, "Then why did the old Manor Lord create a Soul Slayer bow that no one could pull? Wasn't that because he had nothing better to do?" Su Xiao sighed faintly and said with incomparable melancholy, "It was all for the sake of repaying a favor to an old friend. He wasted his entire life's effort." Xiao Chen put away the bow and picked up the essence light arrows that had fallen to the ground. The might of the Soul Slayer bow combined with the essence light arrows far surpassed his imagination. Furthermore, he felt that this Soul Slayer bow still had potential to be excavated. After he picked up the essence light arrows, Xiao Chen started to tidy up the spoils of war. He started to fiddle with the bodies of the martial Grand Masters. When Fatso saw the situation, he quickly fought with Xiao Chen. This fellow is really rich. He managed to get 3,000 gold taels after searching just 2 people. There are also a few bottles of good quality medicinal pills, Fatso said with a smile as he held the gold banknotes. Xiao Chen could not be bothered with him. He shot out a few strands of purple thunder true fire and burned the corpses on the ground to ashes. He looked deeply at the pitch-black hole and did not hesitate to walk in. Kim Tae-ho and Xiao Chen quickly followed. The closer they got to the hole, the denser the cold qi became. It caused them to tremble in fear. After the 3 of them circulated their essence, they felt slightly better. The black hole was a long passageway. As they walked, the surroundings were terrifyingly quiet. The 3 of them did not say a word. Even the usually lively Fatso remained silent. The 3 of them did not know how long they had been walking for. Finally, a spot of light appeared in front of them. Xiao Chen felt joy in his heart and increased his speed. After a while, a vast underground palace appeared in front of them. "Quick, run! The corpses in the coffins have come out." Many of the Duanmu clan cultivators in front have died. There are actually demonic beasts here. Is this an ancient remnant or not? This is too horrifying. Earlier, someone was covered in demonic chi and instantly demonized. Before the three of them could rejoice, a large group of cultivators screamed and ran over from the front. They wanted to escape. For a moment, everyone felt very nervous. Jean Fatso was flabbergasted as he said, "What's going on? Why are they all running back?" Xiao Chen pulled over a cultivator and asked him about it. That cultivator replied that the Duanmu clan's people had opened a black coffin in the underground palace. The corpse in there had actually come back to life and was now killing everyone it saw. There was also a hidden river in the underground palace. Suddenly, many bat-like demonic beasts appeared. They were all rank 5 demonic beasts and there were many of them. Xiao Chen hesitated for a while, but he still led the way forward. Suddenly, he saw a group of people gathered on the wall in front of them, looking at something. This is definitely an ancient martial technique. The ancestors carved it on the wall. However, I do not understand it at all. Without a certain level of comprehension ability, one would not be able to understand it. Earlier, I saw Ji Changkong come here. After he finished looking at it, he immediately destroyed the last 3 murals. He must have comprehended something. Otherwise, he would not have destroyed the last 3 murals. Xiao Chen and the other 2 quickly squeezed in. They saw many murals carved on the wall. Some of the people in the murals were practicing swords, some were sitting, and some were just standing quietly. Everyone's expression was different. However, their movements gave off a feeling of the Tao. Every move they made carried the aura of heaven and earth. Xiao Chen continued to look at the paintings one by one, scanning the stone walls with his spiritual sense. The moment his spiritual sense entered, he felt like he had entered a real world. Every time he finished looking at a painting, he felt like he had gained something. The purple thunder divine incantation in his body actually circulated automatically. He entered a strange feeling. When he reached the end, he discovered that the original 3 murals on the wall had been destroyed. It looks like Ji Changkong must have comprehended something here. That's why he destroyed it. Xiao Chen felt some regret in his heart. The most crucial 3 murals were destroyed. The circulation of the purple thunder divine incantation in his body also stopped. That wondrous feeling from earlier also disappeared. However, even so, Xiao Chen felt the essence in his body was much more abundant than before. His cultivation as a superior grade martial master had become more stable. Su Xiaoxiao suddenly opened her eyes and said in astonishment, "This is a sage Tao comprehension painting. Everyone in the painting is a real sage from the ancient era." The last 3 sage Tao comprehension paintings were destroyed by Ji Changkong. Otherwise, it would be easier to look at them. Fatso looked for a long time, but he could not make out any Tao. He said unhappily, "What's so good about a Tao comprehension painting? It is not a martial technique. The person who drew it is also lacking in morals. Wouldn't it be better to just draw a Tao inheritance painting?" Just as Fatso spoke, a sage sitting on the wall seemed to have felt Fatso's insult. The eyelids on the murals seemed to twitch. "What's going on? I just saw that person's eyelids twitch. Did I see a ghost? I saw it too." Bang! A power pierced through space and time, causing everyone to feel somewhat dazed. By the time they reacted, they saw Fatty lying several hundred meters behind them. He was still tumbling and crying out in pain. "Wah! Wah! 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 The sage has appeared. A gaze from tens of thousands of years ago actually has such might. This is too horrifying. Although the sage is dead, the sage's might still exists. Even after tens of thousands of years, it is not to be blasphemed. Indeed, it looks like the monstrous Fatso is just trash in front of a sage." Xiao Chen rushed over and helped Fatso up. "Are you all right? What happened?" Fatso patted his clothes and said with lingering fear, "I saw a pair of eyes. The eyes were filled with chaos. Before I could react, I was sent flying." Chapter 117. Damn it, I don't believe that a bunch of ghosts can be so strong. Everyone, get out of my way. Fatso's stubbornness suddenly flared up. He pushed the crowd aside and walked towards the stone wall. Heavenly stab. Kim Tae-ho opened the golden folding fan in his hand and a golden figure of a scholar appeared behind him. A righteous aura instantly spread out. This is also the aura of a sage. An ancient sage weapon. This Fatso actually has a sage weapon as well. However, the Taoist rhyme in it doesn't seem to be complete. His sage weapon is incomplete. Even if it is incomplete, it is still very powerful. It should be able to compete with the ancient sages. Boom. Boom. The instant the righteous aura spread out, the sages on the wall seemed to come alive. A small world materialized. The crowd realized that the scenery around them had changed. It was like they were in the world of a painting. The sages in the painting all appeared around the crowd. Their overwhelming aura caused the crowd to kneel down. It was difficult for them to even speak. Someone said in fear, "Are the sages alive?" The blue dragon martial spirit in Xiao Chen's body surged. A vast aura was emitted from his body. Xiao Chen stood with his hands behind his back and closed his eyes, comprehending the Taoist rhyme in this world. The surrounding figures disappeared before Xiao Chen's eyes. A vast and desolate land appeared in his vision. There were countless black figures standing on the ground. These figures were all emitting a black aura. There were also countless humanoid creatures standing in the sky. They covered the sky and covered the sun. It was like the end of the world. Even further in the sky, there were 18 blue dragons swimming in the sky. Their roars resounded throughout the world. In the middle of the blue dragons was a man holding a saber. The instant he appeared, the boundless aura dispersed. Even the 18 blue dragons trembled. This scene flashed by. Before Xiao Chen could see the person's appearance clearly, the scene disappeared. His vision returned to the small world. In the small world, the sage sitting on the ground suddenly opened his eyes. His eyes were filled with primal chaos. It was as if the heavens and earth had opened up, manifesting a boundless might. Fatso proudly stood there. The eyes of the figure behind him turned into a golden light as it fearlessly stared at Fatso. A loud explosion sounded out in the sky. Everyone felt dazed, and the scene before them returned to reality. When they looked at the wall, they were horrified to discover that the murals of the sages comprehending the Tao had all disappeared. What was even more bizarre was that Fatso appeared on the wall with a golden folding fan in his hand and a sinister smile on his face. Behind him, a golden figure stood behind him as if it was protecting him. Am I seeing things? Why does the person on the wall look exactly like Fatso? Damn it, there's no justice in this world. Even a saint has been beaten to the point where not even a single strand of hair is left. How monstrous. How monstrous is he? To think that even a saint cannot deal with him. Fatso was somewhat at a loss. He looked at the portrait on the wall, not knowing what was going on. Is this really me, the Fat Lord? Xiao Chen slowly walked over and smiled, stop doubting it. Aside from you, who else in this world can be this flirtatious? Just by looking at this smile, I know that it is not fake. Su Xiaoxiao slowly walked over and smiled gently, there's no need to worry. The ancient holy weapon in your hand is likely a king weapon. When an even stronger sage appears, it is normal for it to erase the other auras. Furthermore, the Tao of these people were all absorbed by the holy weapon in your hand. This damaged king weapon should be able to reappear in the world one day. Fatso felt the golden folding fan in his hand. After a while, he looked at the portrait on the wall and laughed loudly, this painting is pretty good. The elegance of this fat lord is completely revealed. Isn't that right, Brother Xiao? After that, Xiao Chen muttered, if I could draw Miss Xiao Xiao and princessing you at the side, it would be perfect. Bang! Black lines appeared on Su Xiaoxiao's face. She ruthlessly smashed the heavy zither on Fatso's head. Fatso quickly explained, Miss Xiaoxiao, please calm down. This is just this fat brother's grand dream. I do not have any intention of blaspheming it. The more he explained, the more infuriated Su Xiaoxiao. Fatso quickly moved to the side. When the people at the side heard that the folding fan in Fatso's hand was actually a king weapon, they all revealed greedy gazes. When Fatso saw the situation, he said angrily, "What are you looking at? If you keep looking, do you believe that this fat lord will skin you alive? Quickly, let's go. Fatso is going to pluck me again. Damn pervert." When the crowd thought of Fatso's fame and heard the threat in his words, they all dispelled their greed for the king weapon and scattered. When Fatso heard this, he was so angry that he trembled. He shouted, "Who said that? Stop right there. If you have the guts, don't run. Damn it. This fat lord is not that kind of person." Xiao Chen held back his laughter and patted Fatso's shoulder. "Stop shouting, they are all scared off by you. Let's go. I am not that kind of person. Xiao Chen, you have to believe me." Fatso explained loudly. "It's fine, this brother understands you. Those people are not intelligent enough, they cannot understand you." The three of them continued walking forward. They discovered that although there were many cultivators who left the underground palace, there were even more cultivators who chose to stay. Not long after, they ran into the Duanmu clan's people. The Duanmu clan was a very special clan. Their clan's inherited martial spirit would only appear on women. Thus, in their clan, the men were inferior to the women. Every generation of the clan head was female. It was unique in the Great Qin nation and even in the entire continent. It was as the cultivator from earlier said, the Duanmu clan's martial saints were fighting with a figure emitting a corpse qi. A cold wind blew in the air of the battle and the temperature was extremely cold. The surrounding cultivators stood far away, but they could feel the cold wind blowing. The cold entered their bodies and they all circulated their essence to resist it. This battle was already nearing its end. The moment Xiao Chen arrived, he saw the black figure fall. The surrounding Duanmu clan's female martial saints placed ice on the corpse. After a while, the ice shattered, revealing a purple skeleton and a set of golden battle armor flickering with a bright yellow light. This is the corpse of an ancient martial monarch. Even the skeleton has turned purple. He is just a step away from becoming a martial sage. That battle armor is also an ancient item. Its defense must be very shocking. Although the Duanmu clan lost 2 martial saints this time, it was definitely worth it. Duanmuking walked over and placed the purple skeleton and the golden battle armor into his spatial ring. After that, he led the Duanmu clan's people to a coffin at the side expressionlessly. Duanmuking picked up a yellowed book from the black coffin. He patted the dust off it and gently flipped through it. When the book opened, it gave off a faint glow. Countless golden words flew out from the book. They were densely packed together like scriptures. Unfortunately, they were all ancient words. The people present could not understand them. However, the fluctuations of the Tao on the book let them know that this was not an ordinary item. The Duanmu clan has earned big this time. They actually obtained an ancient martial technique. However, I wonder what kind of martial technique it is. Regardless of what kind of martial technique it is, a martial technique that an ancient martial monarch brought into the coffin is definitely not something that can be found on the streets. These are ancient words. Unexpectedly, I can't understand a single word. I'm going to faint. Xiao Chen's heart skipped a beat. The ancient words floating in the air were actually the traditional Chinese characters of Earth. He quickly took a closer look and imprinted all the words floating in the air into his mind. Duanmuking looked at the ancient words in the air and frowned slightly. He muttered to himself, they are actually all ancient words. I wonder if the seniors in the clan can translate them completely. Who? Just as Duanmuking was about to place the ancient martial technique into his spatial ring, a blue-clothed martial saint hidden in the crowd suddenly leaped up and pounced at Duanmuking. The blue-clothed martial saint grasped the timing very well. He did not make his move when Duanmuking obtained the ancient martial technique, nor did he make his move in the middle. Instead, He made his move when Duanmuking was about to place the ancient martial technique into the spatial ring. At this moment, the Duanmu clan had already relaxed. Duanmuking took out the ancient martial technique and looked through it for a long time. Aside from wanting to take a look at it, he also had another motive. He wanted to lure out some people with ill intentions. Originally, Xiaochen thought that no one would dare to snatch it. Who knew, at the last moment, a peak martial saint would suddenly appear and try to snatch it. The speed of the blue-clothed martial saint was very fast. In an instant, he arrived before Duanmuking. He snatched the ancient martial technique manual from her hands and dashed forward. The surrounding cultivators all cried out in surprise. They did not expect that there would be someone who would dare to target the Duanmu clan. Although the Duanmu clan had lost 2 martial saints, they still had 6 martial saints and 10 martial grand masters. They were not a force that a single person could deal with. Duanmuking was stunned for a moment before her pretty face turned cold. The surrounding temperature suddenly dropped by more than 100 degrees. A boundless cold chi pervaded the air and the speed of the martial saint instantly slowed down. The 6 martial saints behind her also reacted. They shouted and 6 huge icicles rose from the ground, forming a cage and trapping the blue-clothed martial saint. Break! The blue-clothed martial saint shouted loudly and a chi was emitted from his body. The 6 icicles immediately shattered into countless ice shards and the blue-clothed man broke free. However, before he could relax, another 6 icicles rose from the ground the moment he took a step out, trapping him in place once again. Break! The blue-clothed martial saint shouted loudly and his chi exploded out once again. The cage shattered and he broke free. Boom! 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 Every time the blue-clothed martial saint took a step, he would be immediately sealed in ice. Then, he would exert his strength to shatter the icicles. However, doing so exhausted a lot of essence. In the end, the time it took for him to break the icicles grew longer and longer. Initially, he only needed an instant to break the icicles. Now, he needed to take a few deep breaths before he could barely break the icicles. His forehead was covered in sweat. It was obvious that his essence had been exhausted to its limit. Xiaochen extended out his spiritual sense and saw that the 6 martial saints behind Duanmuking had actually formed an invisible line of ice under their feet. There was a crystalline light flowing on the line, forming a strange formation. Chapter 118. Xiaochen was astonished in his heart. No wonder those 6 icicles appeared so quickly and neatly. It turned out that these 6 people had merged into one. They had the same martial spirit and the same attribute. When combined, their might was sufficient to shake a martial king. Ice! Duanmuking suddenly shouted and a huge icicle appeared out of nowhere. The blue-clothed martial saint was instantly frozen in the icicle. That icicle did not explode again. Who? An ancient yellow book was tossed into the crowd. The instant the blue-clothed martial saint was sealed in ice, he had tossed out the ancient martial technique. The crowd was in complete chaos. Many cultivators started to fight over it. The scene was extremely chaotic. Duanmuking frowned and said in a cold voice, "Kill them all." After she spoke, her black hair turned white and a slender sword appeared in her hand. There was no longer any human expression in her eyes. She was like a grim reaper walking in the underworld, reaping lives. Pu ci. There were miserable cries coming from the crowd. Duanmuking led the 6 martial saints and 10 martial grand masters and charged into the crowd. They killed anyone they saw, not showing any mercy. Run quickly. This group of women has gone crazy. Blood and broken limbs flew everywhere. There were cries of alarm from the crowd. Duanmuking's face was covered in blood. The red blood was like a beautiful flower. It gave her a strange sense of beauty, making her look extremely demonic. Who? The slender sword chopped down gently. There was no sound of wind as a martial grand master was chopped in half. Duanmuking's cold face did not show any expression. He withdrew his sword and pierced it into the heart of a martial master in front of him. Duanmu Qing was like a killing machine. her movements were extremely precise. However, she gave off a resplendent sense of beauty, like fireworks. Xiao Chen's martial techniques were not fanciful at all, they were very straightforward. Life was fleeting, it was released in an instant. This was the art of death. Cold chi spread out and an icy light flickered. The surroundings were like an ice cave. The speed of this group of cultivators was reduced to an extreme. As for the Duanmu clan's martial artists, their speed did not decrease at all. The intense battle was simply a one-sided massacre. Fatso's expression turned cold, and he said with lingering fear, "This woman is really terrifying. Not only does she not show mercy when killing people, but her expression does not change at all. Are human lives not even worth an ant in her eyes?" Su Xiaoxiao's expression was not too shocked. She sighed and said, "The Duanmu clan's princess must cultivate the profound ice incantation. The cultivator must be ruthless and heartless. Otherwise, they will never be able to reach great success." When I saw Duanmuking in my early years, I could still see her smile. Xiao Chen was mildly astonished. There was actually such an extreme cultivation technique in this world. The cultivator had to be heartless. What kind of destruction was that? There was a trace of sympathy in his gaze as he looked at Duanmuqing. Puchi. Duanmuking chopped the warrior in half and slowly picked up the ancient yellow book that had fallen to the ground. Suddenly, she looked in the direction of Xiao Chen and the other two. Then, she slowly walked over to them. A cold wind blew, and the three of them felt a piercing chill in their hearts. "This martial technique is for you, and I'll take the spirit fox," Duanmuking said coldly as she handed the ancient martial technique to Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen smiled bitterly in his heart. Just a moment ago, he was saying that this person was pitiful. Was this what they meant by "pitiful people are hateful"? Xiao Chen rejected without hesitation, "I'm sorry, Bai is not a commodity. I will not trade it with others. Is it not enough?" Duanmuking's expression turned cold, and the surrounding temperature dropped significantly. Kim Tae-ho could not bear to watch this any longer. He said, "Don't think that you are very awesome just because you dyed your hair white. Have some intelligence. That spirit fox has already signed a blood contract, it cannot be traded." Duanmuking's gaze was still fixed on Xiao Chen. He did not bother about Fatso. However, when he heard Fatso's words, he seemed to understand something. A murderous intent appeared in his eyes, and the slender sword in his hand buzzed. "Kim Tae-ho, return my son to me." Jiang Mingxuan's angry voice came from afar. Ji Changkong led the cultivators of the two clans over. Clearly, the intense battle earlier had attracted them over. Among the crowd, Ji Changkong stood proudly. His deep eyes were like a boundless starry sky. When one looked at them, they could not fathom their depths. It seemed like the three sage Dao attainment pictures would be of great help to him. Fatso said in a bad mood, "If you want a son, go look for the child's mother. Why are you looking for this fat lord? This fat lord does not know how to give birth." "Kim Tae-ho, don't go overboard." Xiao Chen said indifferently, "Jiang Mingxuan is in my hands." "You have found the wrong person." Ji Changkong's long hair and clothes fluttered even though there was no wind. He said in a carefree manner, "Let go of my cousin and leave behind an arm. I will not kill you." Pooh! 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 Hurried footsteps came from the distance again. Hua Yunfei led the 6 martial saints of the Hua clan over. Hua Yunfei said coldly, "Xiao Chen, were you the one who killed the martial grand masters of my Hua clan? Since you killed the people of my Hua clan, you can forget about leaving this underground palace today." Xiao Chen looked coldly at the people of the 3 noble clans. Duanmuking, Ji Changkong, and Hua Yunfei, as well as the many cultivators behind them, were all staring at him. They did not hide the dense killing intent in their eyes. Xiao Chen grasped the lunar shadow saber in his hand tightly. Electricity radiated from the saber, and the might of the rank 6 demonic core was released without restraint. He smiled coldly, "Aren't you trying to kill me? Why the need for so many excuses? Who will come first?" "My, Xiao Chen's, head will be right here. Let's see who dares to take it. The crowd turned silent. They all knew how terrifying Xiao Chen was. If they were to fight to the death, he would definitely use a move that would end in mutual destruction. No one dared to make the first move out of fear in their hearts. The Guy Marquis, Ying Xiao, will take your superior's head. A golden spear appeared without any warning and pressed against Xiao Chen's chest with a bang. The clothes on his chest were immediately torn apart, revealing the golden battle armor underneath. When the spear pressed against the battle armor, it was unable to advance any further. The Guy Marquis focused and infused a golden essence into the spear. Boom! A huge force knocked Xiao Chen into the air. Bang! 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 The Guy Marquis shouted and pushed Xiao Chen back with his spear. 10 of the stone pillars in the underground palace were instantly broken. Finally, he pushed Xiao Chen against a wall with a sage's portrait on it before he stopped. A trace of blood leaked out from the corner of Xiao Chen's mouth. He looked at the Guy Marquis and asked suspiciously, I don't seem to have any enmity with you. Why do you want to kill me? He could not understand. Duan Yuqing, Hua Yunfei, Ji Changkong, and the others wanted to kill him. They all had all sorts of excuses. The Guy Marquis had not even spoken a single word to him. Why did the Guy Marquis make a move against him for no reason? The Guy Marquis wore golden armor and carried a scarlet short spear on his back. His complexion was like jade and he looked very handsome. It was as though victory had descended. The Guy Marquis did not have any expression on his face as he said indifferently, the ancestor left a message. Anyone who sees the Emperor Dragon Qi and is not a member of the Ying clan will be killed without mercy. After the Guy Marquis spoke, the golden spear in his hand trembled. The tip of the spear pressed against Xiao Chen's battle armor. The golden light from the spear caused a small hole to appear in the battle armor. Ripples appeared on the wall behind the Guy Marquis, negating the huge force that was transmitted to the wall. Xiao Chen grasped the body of the spear and the purple thunder divine incantation circulated rapidly in his body. His essence was quickly transferred to his left hand, and a resplendent electric current was emitted. It immediately traveled along the 3-meter-long golden spear to the Guy Marquis' hand. The Guy Marquis' hand went numb. After that, the electric current flowed into his body. The essence in his body instantly became chaotic and the force of the spear weakened significantly. Chong! Xiao Chen took advantage of the opportunity to use his saber to knock the spear aside. He quickly descended from the air and swallowed a blood-replenishing pill. Then, he held the lunar shadow saber and rushed at the Guy Marquis. Boom! The Guy Marquis suppressed the electric light in his body and pressed down with the spear in his hand. The wind howled and the spear light was resplendent. It seemed like it had a boundless might. Bang! Xiao Chen dodged to the side and the spear landed on the ground. It created a crack and sent up countless rocks. In an instant, dust and sand flew into the air. The spear swept through the air and created a crack in the flying dust. It was as though the dust was cut in half by a sharp knife. The Guy Marquis' spear was 3 meters long. In addition to the golden light on the spear, it covered a radius of 10 meters. With such a large area of effect, Xiao Chen was unable to dodge to the left or right. He could only leap into the air and dodge the spear. The Guy Marquis revealed a cold smile. He took a step back with his right foot and quickly withdrew his spear. Boom! 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 The Guy Marquis grasped the handle of the spear and exerted force with his right hand. The retracted spear was like a flood dragon as it charged forward. It roared angrily in the air at Xiao Chen. In an instant, hundreds of spear images appeared. Xiao Chen, who was in the air, looked at the dazzling golden spear images in front of him. His heart was in a mess. Every single spear image was real and contained a boundless killing intent. As long as he was struck by it, a hole would immediately appear in his body. Since he could not see through it, Xiao Chen simply closed his eyes and followed his senses to draw his saber. It was as though he was practicing chopping wood. The lunar shadow saber in his hand swung out continuously. The sound of the saber and spear clashing resounded continuously. In an instant, the two of them exchanged hundreds of moves in the air. After Xiao Chen landed, he suddenly opened his eyes and shouted, drawing the saber. The light of the lunar shadow saber was withdrawn and it struck the spear at an incomparably fast speed. There was a loud and melodious sound as the spear trembled in the air. The body of the spear formed a crescent arc before bouncing back to its original position. A huge force was transmitted. The Guy Marquis's right hand, which was holding the spear, went numb. The spear in his hand nearly flew out. The Guy Marquis calmed himself and grasped the spear again. A grave look appeared in his eyes as he took a heavy step forward and swept his spear out again. With the lesson from before, Xiao Chen naturally would not jump to avoid it again. He adopted a posture of a bridge and quickly fell backward. Who? The Guy Marquis's spear brushed past Xiao Chen's face. When the spear passed by, a few strands of hair on Xiao Chen's face were immediately cut off. Just as Xiao Chen was preparing to counterattack, Hua Yunfei, who was standing behind, suddenly made a move. He turned into a surging river of blood and rushed forward. Chapter 119. The Guy Marquis's gaze was like a torch as he looked coldly at Hua Yunfei, who had turned into a river of blood. He swung his spear at the river of blood with a tremendous force, like a divine dragon swinging its tail. It was unblockable. The river of blood in the air instantly stopped. Hua Yunfei revealed himself and crossed his arms to block the spear. However, the force of the spear was too great. Hua Yunfei was instantly sent flying. He slid on the ground for a few steps before he slowly stabilized himself. The Guy Marquis said coldly, "It is not up to you to make a move on the person that I, the Guy Marquis, want to kill." Under everyone's gaze, Hua Yunfei was humiliated in front of everyone. His face flushed red and a scarlet figure appeared behind him. Hua Yunfeng said in a cold voice, "Guy Marquis, what is the meaning of this? Do you want to start a war?" The Guy Marquis laughed coldly and ignored him. He turned his gaze back to Xiao Chen. The 200 golden-armored warriors behind him drew their swords in an orderly manner. Accompanied by the sound of swords being drawn, a horrifying killing chi instantly spread out. The 200 golden-armored warriors that had experienced countless battles had their killing chi linked together. It was like a monstrous wave as they charged at the Hua clan. Hua Yunfei and the others felt a chill in their hearts. It was as though they were in a battlefield filled with blood. Countless cries of pain and the wails of soldiers before their deaths resounded in everyone's ears. It was very horrifying. Hua Yunfei was very anxious. However, he knew that the people he brought were not strong enough. In front of these 200 martial grand masters filled with horrifying killing chi, they would not be able to gain an advantage. Hua Yunfei could only snort coldly and not say anything. He stared coldly at Xiao Chen, placing all the blame on Xiao Chen. His resentment towards him deepened once again. Xiao Chen got up and took 2 steps back. He was slightly astonished at the Guy Marquis' actions. He did not expect this person to be so conceited. He was no different from the rumors. Suddenly, Ji Changkong laughed coldly and said, "What big words. Let's see what ability you have to stop me from killing this person." In the early years, Ji Changkong challenged the various young experts of the imperial capital. There were rumors that he had a secret duel with the Guy Marquis and both of them ended in a draw. Because the Guy Marquis was one cultivation realm higher than Ji Changkong at that time, Ji Changkong had always been unconvinced. Now, it looked like this duel was real. A black sword appeared in Ji Changkong's hand. A resplendent starry sky materialized in his eyes. It was vast, boundless, and unfathomable. His figure turned into a stream of light as he flew toward Xiao Chen. The long sword in his hand danced, and starlight overflowed in all directions, dazzling. Duanmuking's slender sword shook, bringing up countless snowflakes. Cold light flashed, cold wind blew, and at the same time, it flew towards Xiao Chen. Hua Yunfei snorted coldly. Seizing the opportunity, he once again transformed into a blood river and rushed towards Xiao Chen. The 3 of them unleashed their killer moves from different directions, rushing towards Xiao Chen. The Guy Marquis felt a chill in his heart. If the three of them attacked at the same time, he was not confident of blocking them. Even if he could, he would not. The Guy Marquis had never intended to let Xiao Chen off. It was just that his character was like this. He did not want to borrow the hands of others. The Guy Marquis took out the scarlet short spear that he had been carrying on his back and held it in his left hand. He said indifferently, "If I, the Guy Marquis, want to kill someone, no one can kill him before me." He gave a light shout and stomped on the ground. Immediately, countless cracks appeared on the ground. Then, with a loud bang, the ground exploded. He leaped forward explosively, and in an instant, he had overtaken Hua Yunfei and the other two. Immediately, Xiao Chen was trapped in a desperate situation. Xiao Chen was not confident of receiving any of the killing moves from the four of them. Furthermore, all of them were attacking him at the same time. He had a slim chance of surviving. Xiao Chen leaned against the wall with the sage's image. When he saw the four people suddenly flying towards him, he smiled coldly to himself. He did not reveal any fear. Life bestowal spell. Xiao Chen shouted and quickly took out a sculpture from the universe ring. It was a golden lion king the size of a small mountain. Suddenly, it appeared in front of Xiao Chen. Bang! The Guy Marquis, who was the first to arrive, crashed into the golden lion king and was quickly knocked back. Xiao Chen flew up and stood on the golden lion king's back. He controlled the golden lion king to stomp on the ground. An intense shockwave spread out in all directions. In that instant, dust flew into the air. The huge impact of the shockwave instantly knocked Duan Muqing, Hua Yunfei, and Ji Changkong into the air. When the Guy Marquis, who was knocked back, saw the golden lion king suddenly appear, his brain short-circuited. He did not understand what was going on. How did the golden holy beast get subdued by Xiao Chen? Boom! The golden lion king's huge foot was like a huge stone pillar. It stomped on the Guy Marquis, who was on the ground. The Guy Marquis quickly rolled backward to dodge it. Bang! Countless rocks flew into the air and a huge hole immediately appeared behind the Guy Marquis. The golden lion king's foot was like an otherworldly object. It continued to stomp on the Guy Marquis at an incomparably fast speed. The Guy Marquis was greatly astonished. How can this golden lion king be so fast? When I fought with it earlier, it was clearly past its prime. Its movements were extremely slow. What exactly is going on? The Guy Marquis dodged in a sorry state. In the end, he revealed an opening and was ruthlessly stomped on by the foot. Xiao Chen remained expressionless as he controlled the golden lion king to stomp on the ground. Bang! 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 A deep hole appeared in the ground. The Guy Marquis landed at the bottom of the hole. It was unknown if he was dead or alive. His 200 golden armored guards immediately surrounded Xiao Chen and attacked him. Xiao Chen controlled the golden lion king to advance ferociously, crushing everything in its path. No one could stop it. Xiao Chen used the life bestowal spell to create the golden lion king. Its speed and strength were not something that the golden lion king that was past its prime could compare to. The golden lion king charged at a ferocious tiger, pouncing left and right. Its mountain-like body continuously stomped on the ground, causing the ground to tremble. Miserable cries resounded. Those golden armored guards were trampled into meat paste. They were utterly defeated. When the 6th Wanmu clan martial saints saw the situation, they sent out an extremely cold qi at Xiao Chen. Everywhere the cold qi passed, even the air froze. Countless tiny ice beads appeared and fell down continuously like hail. Pu ci. The golden lion king spat out a dazzling golden flame from its mouth. The cold qi immediately turned into water vapor and disappeared. However, the flame continued flying towards the 6 martial saints. Like the autumn wind sweeping away the fallen leaves, the 6th Wanmu clan martial saints were blown away. They vomited a large mouthful of blood as they looked at Xiao Chen in horror. Boom! The 6 Hua clan martial saints split up and sent out a surging holy river. Dragon turtles, thorn fish, and all sorts of immortal beasts could be seen swimming in the holy river. A holy might spread out, boundless and boundless. It was like it wanted to wash away all the evil in the world. Xiao Chen looked coldly at the surging holy river. He gently pushed off the ground and the Golden Lion King sprinted forward at lightning speed. The ground trembled continuously. The stone pillars and walls in the way shattered upon impact. Roar! When it arrived in front of the holy river, the Golden Lion King suddenly let out a loud roar. The sound wave spread in all directions. Countless stone walls were crushed into powder. The unceasing flow of the majestic holy river was swept up into the sky by the roar. After a short moment, it flowed backwards. Impossible! The 6 Hua clan martial saints cried out in shock. Their faces were filled with astonishment. Rumble! The holy river flowed on the 6 of them, giving off a zzz sound. When the holy river disappeared, the 6 martial saints turned pale. All the clothes on their bodies disappeared, and their bodies became thinner. A pure white space appeared on the ground, without a speck of dust. I'll kill you. Hua Yunfei's eyes turned scarlet, and a scarlet sword appeared in his hand. A man in scarlet clothes stood behind him. A boundless evil aura was emitted from the scarlet-clothed man. Occasionally, the corpses of all sorts of strong creatures would appear beside him. They were faintly discernible, looking very horrifying. Boom! A scarlet sword light shot out from the sword. A huge hole appeared in the ceiling of the underground palace. Countless rocks fell from the sky and landed on the ground. Bloody death under heaven. Die! Hua Yunfei shouted and the sword light hacked down at Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen's face was indifferent as he shouted. The Golden Lion King's golden horn suddenly released a resplendent golden light. The golden light collided with the blood-red light, causing a deafening explosion. In the end, the blood-red sword light disappeared, and the golden light shot up into the sky, creating a small hole in the mountain wall above the underground palace. A ray of sunlight shone down from above. This golden light actually pierced through the walls of the underground palace. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. Just how powerful was it to be able to do such a thing? A huge ice bird appeared. It screeched in the air and flew at Xiao Chen with boundless cold chi. A boundless flame burned in Xiao Chen's right eye. Finally, the boundless flame turned into a purple light and shot out a purple light. When the ice bird was struck by the purple light, it immediately burst into flames. It cried out miserably in pain. The ice bird screeched and flew at Xiao Chen, carrying the flames. The ice on its body melted continuously. When it reached Xiao Chen, it completely disappeared. Astral Swordplay's third move, Eternal Light. When Ji Changkong felt the horrifying aura of the Golden Lion King, he did not dare to be careless. He immediately used his strongest attack. A resplendent starry sky appeared behind him. Amidst the boundless river of stars, one of Ji Changkong's faded stars suddenly lit up with a dazzling pillar of light. It rushed to the sky and broke through the 1,000-meter-tall hill above the underground palace. It flew towards the boundless universe and arrived at the other side of the starry sky. The dark underground palace was illuminated like it was daytime. At this moment, the light was eternal, the starry sky was resplendent. Pu Ci. The light suddenly flashed and the underground palace was instantly plunged into darkness. In the next moment, his black sword lit up with a boundless resplendent light. It was so dazzling that countless people lost sleep temporarily. The eternal light from the starry sky rushed at Xiao Chen. It streaked across the darkness like an aurora. It seemed like even the night was split in half by it. The Golden Lion King opened its huge mouth and a huge suction force came from it. The starry sky behind Ji Changkong was strangely swallowed up. The mysterious phenomenon was broken and Ji Changkong vomited a mouthful of blood. The eternal light was completely extinguished. That is Xiao Chen. Why is he fighting with the people of the 4 great clans? Furthermore, he is not at a disadvantage. Chapter 120. He actually blocked Hua Yunfei's bloody death under heaven, Duamuking's ice phoenix spreading wings, and Ji Chankong's eternal light. This is too incredible. What's going on? I clearly saw them kill that golden lion king. Why is it alive now? Furthermore, its strength has recovered to its peak. No wonder he dares to challenge the people of the 4 great clans. A golden holy beast at its peak is equivalent to a superior grade martial king. If the 4 great clans had a martial king, this situation would not have happened. Do you know what a martial king is? When the 10 martial monarchs do not appear, a martial king is the strongest existence. How could they appear so casually? Furthermore, the shockwaves from a battle between martial kings are too wide. Even a martial saint might not be able to withstand it. Such an earth-shattering battle had attracted all the cultivators in the underground palace. However, they did not expect to see such a scene. Shao Chen controlled the Golden Lion King and rushed over to Kim Tae-ho and Su Xiaoxiao. He shouted, "Come up." Fatso and Su Xiaoxiao quickly flew up. Shao Chen swallowed another qi returning pill. This was already his 3rd qi returning pill. However, the essence in his body continued to drain like water, quickly depleting. Controlling the Golden Lion King exhausted a lot of essence. It far exceeded Shao Chen's expectations. If it were not for the qi returning pill, he would not have been able to control the Golden Lion King long ago. When Su Xiaoxiao saw Shao Chen's pale complexion, she asked worriedly, "Young Master Shao, are you all right?" Shao Chen smiled faintly, "I'm fine. I can still hold on. Stand firm, I'm going to charge out." Shao Chen roared, and the Golden Lion King under his feet sprinted forward. Its mountain-like body rumbled as it moved forward. Anything in its way would be knocked away. Pu Ci. The Guy Marquis jumped out of the huge pit. His eyes lit up. A golden dragon rose up from behind him. It roared and released a vast dragon might. He swung the spear in his hand, and the golden dragon attached itself to the spear. It roared angrily at Shao Chen. The blue dragon martial spirit in Shao Chen's dantian roared. The might of an ancient holy beast burst out. Shao Chen took advantage of this aura and swung his saber. He knocked away the Guy Marquis spear with a king chung sound. Hua Yunfei looked at the distant Shao Chen and said loudly, "Shao Chen, you can escape today, but you cannot escape forever. The Hua clan will issue a kill order in the Dongming province. There will be no place for you in the Dongming province." Ji Changkong said coldly, "From today onwards, there will be no place for you in the Nanling province." The Guy Marquis said loudly, "I use the name of the royal clan to issue a kill order. From today onwards, there will be no place for you in this world." The crowd was shocked. The 3 noble clans had issued a kill order for the same person. In the history of the great Qin nation, this had never happened before. Shao Chen was the first in 1,000 years. However, this was not a good thing. If he was wanted by the 3 noble clans, he would have a slim chance of survival. Shao Chen smiled coldly in his heart. He tossed Jiang Muheng, who was in the universe ring, into the sky. He shot out a strand of purple flame and instantly burned him to ashes. "Muheng!" Jiang Muheng shouted with a pained expression when he saw Jiang Muheng turn into ashes. Ji Changkong's complexion was pale. He looked at his cousin, who had suddenly died. He said coldly, "If I, Ji Changkong, cannot kill you with my own hands, I am not human. There is no need for you to kill me. If it were not for the heavens allowing me to awaken my martial spirit at the age of 15, I would not have fled in such a sorry state today. I only need 3 years. Give me 3 years and I will personally kill my way to your clans." Duanmuking, Hua Yunfei, Ji Changkong, Guy Marquis, guard your heads properly. 3 years from now, I will come and take them. Shao Chen's voice came from afar, reverberating in everyone's ears. 3 years from now, I will personally kill my way to your clans. This person is really insolent. He actually dares to challenge the noble clans alone. Those are existences that have existed for thousands of years. 3 years is too long. I don't know if he can live until that year. If he really can live until that year, with his talent, he will definitely surprise everyone. Speaking of which, it has been a long time since our Dongming province was so lively. Even the Shiha province's Mu Qingxue is not as bold as this person. The crowd discussed with each other, feeling that it was inconceivable. Some felt pity for Xiao Chen, while others mocked Xiao Chen for overestimating himself. There were all kinds of people here. On top of a stone pillar in the distance, Chu Chaoyun stood quietly. His long hair fluttered in the wind, and he appeared very calm. He hid himself in the darkness and looked in the direction Xiao Chen left in. He revealed a faint smile. The holy weapon on his back trembled continuously, as though it would be drawn at any moment and cut through the boundless darkness. Blue Dragon, I wonder if you can still give me a pleasant surprise after 1,000 years. Xiao Chen rode on the Golden Lion King as he ran wildly. It was unknown how many stone walls he broke and how many stone pillars he broke. Along the way, no one could stop him. When he arrived at an underground river, he finally stopped. Boom! The essence in Xiao Chen's body was completely exhausted, and the Golden Lion King instantly turned into a golden statue. The three of them quickly descended from the sky. After Su Xiaoxiao and Kim Taeho panicked for a moment, they immediately calmed down and landed steadily. On the contrary, Xiao Chen was like a kite with a broken string. He fell from the sky shakily, without any center of gravity. When Su Xiaoxiao saw the situation, she quickly got up and caught Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen's complexion was pale. He thanked her softly and staggered to his feet. After that, he caught the falling statue. The statue was already covered in cracks. If it fell, it would definitely shatter into pieces. Seeing that the cracks on the statue were still expanding, Xiao Chen drew his saber and cut his right palm. Under the astonished gazes of Kim Taeho and Su Xiaoxiao, he continuously poured his blood into the statue. The golden statue seemed to have some sort of magical power. It continuously absorbed Xiao Chen's blood. The cracks on the statue started to slowly close up. When the cracks finally closed up, Xiao Chen relaxed. He revealed a faint smile and fainted. Back at the underground palace, the noble clans were not in a rush to leave. There were too many injured people. At this moment, they were all looking for treatment and recovering their essence. Everyone, I have a suggestion. Before we even see the golden body of a sage, we have already suffered heavy casualties. Why don't we work together to explore it? Ji Changkong, who was sitting on the ground, said slowly. His mysterious phenomenon had been broken, and he had just swallowed a medicinal pill and was currently refining it. In the earlier battle, the noble clans had suffered heavy casualties. A third of the Guy Marquis' 200 golden guards had died. There were less than 100 who could still fight. The 6 martial saints of the Hua Yunfei clan had all suffered from the backflow of the holy river. They did not even have any clothes left. They all covered their lower bodies and hid in the dark. Hua Yunfei had a sullen expression as he went to borrow clothes. The 6 martial saints of the Duanmu clan were also significantly injured. At this moment, they were sitting in meditation to recover. The only ones who did not suffer heavy losses were the Ji clan and the Jiang clan. At this moment, it was most appropriate for Ji Changkong to make this suggestion. When Hua Yunfei heard this, his expression turned cold. He had a grudge with Ji Changkong long ago. Based on his words, it was clear that he wanted to lead everyone here. Xiao Chen smiled coldly. Ji Changkong, do you think you can lead everyone here? You can't even defeat a superior grade martial master. Are you not embarrassed? Ji Changkong stood up. The medicinal energy in his body had completely permeated into his body. His complexion looked much better. He took a glance at the clothes in Hua Yunfei's hands and mocked, at least it is better than the people of a certain clan who like to strip. I see that the clothes in your hands seem to be lacking. Do you want me to lend you a few? When many cultivators heard this, they looked at the Hua clan martial saints in the dark with their heads lowered. They could not help but laugh softly. Hua Yunfei was so angry that his face turned red. He snorted coldly and left. Duan Muking looked at the 6 martial saints who were still treating their injuries. He said indifferently, the Duanmu clan agrees with Ji Changkong's suggestion. After the Gi Marquis collected all the armors of the golden armored warriors that died in battle, he buried this person. He walked over and said simply, agreed. Hua Yunfei brought the 6 martial saints who were dressed and walked over. Although his expression was unfriendly, he still said, agreed. However, what I want to say is that if we obtain any treasures, we should split them according to the clan and not the number of people. Furthermore, the Jiang clan and the Ji clan should be considered one clan. Jiang Mingxuan said angrily, Hua Yunfei, what do you mean by this? Do you want to fight it out and see who is stronger? After Jiang Mingxuan spoke, the 6 martial saints and 20-odd martial grand masters behind him all stepped forward. With Hua Yunfei's current strength, he would be at a disadvantage if they really fought. Ji Changkong smiled faintly and pulled Jiang Mingxuan behind him. He said, the Jiang clan is indeed different from all of you in terms of status. However, their strength should not be too far off. How about we be considered half a clan? Although he wanted to consider the Jiang clan as one clan, the other clans agreed with the meaning behind Hua Yunfei's words. They would not let Ji Changkong take advantage of them. Both sides took a step back. No one had any objections to such an arrangement. After resting for a while, they officially set off. When the idol cultivators saw the situation, they all sighed. With the big powers working together, they basically had no chance. The group of people walked a few steps and came across another black coffin. They started to discuss whether to open it or not. Finally, the Gi Marquis said, I have already opened several coffins of this shape. They were all the places where martial monarchs passed away. Although the value is high, considering the risks involved, it is not worth it. Let's just look for the coffin of a sage. When everyone heard this, they felt that it was reasonable. The noble clans had also opened such coffins before. They knew that it was only an ancient martial monarch. Now that the strength of the various clans had been damaged, there was no need to waste their strength on such a small obstacle. Along the way, they came across countless black coffins. However, they were all abandoned by the group. After walking for 2 hours, a river filled with a black chi appeared in front of them. The sound of gushing water could be heard continuously. The black chi on the surface of the river was very strange. Ji Changkong opened his hand and sucked in a strand of the black chi. He placed it on his palm and observed it carefully. That strand of black chi continuously moved around Ji Changkong's palm, trying to penetrate his skin. It seemed like it had a life of its own. However, there seemed to be a formless barrier on Ji Changkong's palm. No matter what it did, it could not enter. Chapter 121. Who? The black gas suddenly flew up and entered the body of a martial grand master of the Jiang family. The martial grand master was caught off guard and the black gas entered his body. Ah! The martial grand master cried out miserably. His skin instantly turned black and his body trembled on the ground. His eyes bulged out like he was possessed. Bang! Jiang Mingxuan decisively drew his saber and chopped this martial grand master in half. The corpse that was chopped in half struggled on the ground, trying to merge back together. Duanmuking sent out a strand of ice to freeze it completely before it stopped moving. This is demonic energy. The black surface is filled with demonic energy. This is a genuine demonic river. Jiang Mingxuan looked at the river beside him and said with slight fear, I've lived for so long, but I've never seen so much demonic chi. Devil chi? The cultivators from the great families all sucked in a breath of cold air, their hearts filled with shock. Many of them had once gone to the monster beast land to temper themselves, so they had some understanding of demon chi. However, they had never ventured deep into the core area, so they had never seen the so-called demon chi with their own eyes. For example, if this long river that led to nowhere was filled with black chi that was all demonic chi, then when the amount accumulated, it would be terrifying. Perhaps even the 7 great forbidden lands of the continent would not be able to compare to it. After the Gi Marquis muttered to himself for a while, he said, the situation here is more complicated than I imagined. With so much demonic chi, there must be a spatial crack that leads to the deep abyss demonic world that is not sealed. We should quickly report this to the 3 Holy Lands. Otherwise, there will be unimaginable consequences. Hua Yunfei shook his head and said, I don't think so. This is the place where the ancient great sage passed away. How could there be such a large spatial rift? This river also appeared in ancient times. I think the spatial rift is definitely not big. It's just that too much time has passed and it has accumulated to such a terrifying realm. Ji Changkong said very strangely, I agree with Hua Yunfei's opinion. If there was a large spatial crack, the 3 Holy Lands would definitely have discovered it. I heard that every Holy Land has a treasure mirror for monitoring spatial cracks. There is no way they would not have discovered this place. Immediately, everyone started arguing about the origin of the demonic river and whether there was a large spatial crack. The older cultivators were more inclined towards the Guy Marquis's opinion. The younger cultivators were more willing to take the risk and did not want to leave so easily. Chi. 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 Just as everyone was arguing endlessly, splashes suddenly appeared on the surface of the black water. Bats with black chi on their bodies leaped out of the water and flew toward the crowd. All martial grand masters, move back. The demonic chi on this demonic beast is too heavy, Ji Changkong shouted with a frown. Chi. A martial grand master retreated too late and was bitten by this bat-type demonic beast. He was instantly demonized, and his entire body emitted a black aura as he charged at the people beside him. All of you focus on, demonic grand master, demonic master, demonic martial master, demonic master, he was. Dao family formation. Master of Qi, he said. Dragon master of demonic Dao. Dao master family, first move of the star. Star. A boundless river of stars appeared behind Ji Changkong. His sword flickered with starlight. When the bats in the air touched the light, they were immediately blasted into pieces. The Guy Marquis and his subordinates immediately killed the people of the noble clans. Everyone attacked without holding anything back. After a while, countless demonic beast corpses appeared on the ground. This sudden battle did not last long before it ended. However, everyone felt fear in their hearts. It was like a huge battle had just taken place. Suddenly, Duanmuking said, although the demonic chi on this demonic beast is very dense, it is not that strong. I believe there are no large spatial tears here. Indeed, if there were large spatial tears, the demonic beasts that jumped out would be at least rank 6 demonic beasts based on the demonic chi. They would not be as weak as they were now. Everyone agreed with Duanmuking's point of view. After they counted the dead, they set off again. Surprisingly, no demonic beasts suddenly jumped out. After walking for 4 hours, the crowd followed the Black River downstream. They were blocked by a mountain wall. The river flowed through a cave at the bottom of the mountain wall, flowing to an unknown place. Just as everyone was feeling dispirited and could not find their way, a cultivator pointed to the opposite side and shouted, "Quick, look! There seems to be a stone platform." Ji Changkong looked in the direction he pointed and indeed, he saw a stone platform. The stone platform did not look very tall. There were steps on all 4 sides. There seemed to be something emitting a faint light at the top of the stone platform. The sage coffin might be there. It must be there. I can feel the sage's righteous chi, Hua Yunfei exclaimed in pleasant surprise. Everyone started to discuss how to cross the river. The river was only a few meters wide, not everyone could fly across it. Even martial saints did not dare to casually touch the demonic chi on the river. Finally, the 6 Hua clan martial saints worked together and sent out a surging holy river. It rushed into the river and cleansed the water. Then, the Duanmu clan martial saints made their move and quickly froze it. The group of cultivators stepped on the ice and quickly rushed to the other side, heading towards the stone platform. The stone platform did not look very far, but it took them an hour to reach it. Originally, the stone platform did not seem very tall to them. Now that they stood in front of it, they realized how wrong they were. This stone platform was actually 1,000 meters tall. There were steps in front of them, they could not see the end. It was like a path to the heavens. That's right, it must be here. This is a small world materialized by the sage, an old man said excitedly as he looked at the towering stone platform. When everyone heard this, they were startled. When they saw the 1,000-meter-tall stone platform, they suddenly came to their senses. If this place did not materialize a small world, this stone platform would have pierced through the mountain slope above the underground palace. Hua Yunfei's face lit up with joy. He said, "What are we waiting for? Let's go." After he spoke, he took the lead and headed for the stone steps that seemed to lead to the heavens. Pooh! 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 The disciples of the noble clans did not want to fall behind. After climbing the 10-odd steps, everyone felt that something was wrong. They felt the force on their legs getting heavier. Every step they took was extremely strenuous. Ji Changkong stopped and closed his eyes to carefully feel his body. When he raised his leg into the air, there was no resistance. However, when he landed on the stone steps, he immediately felt some of his strength being drained away. After a while, Ji Changkong opened his eyes and said, "Something is wrong with this place. Every time we climb a step, we have to absorb some essence." At first, I did not think it was a big deal. However, the more we climb, the more obvious it becomes. When everyone heard this, they stopped as well. After they carefully felt their bodies, they were all astonished. They looked up at the seemingly endless stone steps. Who could reach the top of such a long path? Hua Yunfei said, "We are already at the final step. We cannot just give up. At most, we can just leave when our essence is about to run out." Ji Changkong revealed a bitter smile and said, "That is the problem. Try walking back now. Just one step will do." When a martial Grand Master heard his words, he tried walking down. The moment he took a step, he felt a large amount of essence being drained away. He started to feel panic in his heart. He wanted to escape this place. He took a deep breath and prepared to jump down. Under the horrified gazes of the crowd, they saw this person's body slowly withering in the air. When he finally landed on the ground, he had turned into a white skeleton. All the flesh on his body had disappeared. What is going on? Why is his life force being drained so much? Is this stone platform a demon? A martial Grand Master of the Jiang clan said in fear as his entire body trembled. The disciples of the noble clans all turned pale. They did not expect the stone platform to be so horrifying. Is this really the legendary path to heaven? As the saying goes, ascending to heaven is difficult. Is it even more difficult to descend? Ji Changkong frowned and said, "Martial Grand Masters, if you do not have an inherited martial spirit, you can leave now. Do not jump down from the sky. There is no chance of survival." Soon, all the martial Grand Masters started to slowly walk down. There were only about 10 steps, but it felt like they were thousands of meters long. Bang! When a martial Grand Master reached the 3rd step from the bottom, he could no longer hold on. He turned into a pile of white bones with a bang and fell to the ground. The people at the side were terrified. Some of them could not help but jump down when they saw that there were only 2 steps left. In the end, they exploded into pieces. When all the martial Grand Masters reached the bottom of the stone platform, they all heaved a sigh of relief. They quickly sat on the ground and sat down cross-legged to recover their essence. Aside from the noble clan's heirs, the rest of the people standing on the stone steps were all martial saints. The Guy Marquis looked at the top of the stone platform and muttered, "There are at least 10,000 steps. Even if we can go up, how will we be able to walk down?" These words were like a barrier in everyone's heart. No matter what, they could not get over it. Up until now, they had not exhausted much essence. However, when they thought of the higher they went, the more essence they would exhaust when they came down. The shadow of death lingered over everyone's heads. Ji Changkong said indifferently, 1,000 years ago, after the Thunder King disappeared, the great Qin nation never had an Emperor Wu again. We do not even know if there was a martial sage. Now, a great opportunity is placed in front of us. Although there is a slim chance of survival, it does not mean that there will be no chance of survival. Since ancient times, there has never been a martial emperor who succeeded without a hitch. After Ji Changkong spoke, he took the lead and walked up. The people here were all geniuses. No one was willing to be someone else's stepping stone. They did not hesitate to follow. Along the way, the crowd saw many white bones on the stone steps. The higher they went, the more bones there were. The stone steps were filled with white bones. The crowd had no way of avoiding them, they could only step on the white bones and continue forward. As they continued forward, purple skeletons started to appear on the bones on the stone steps. The crowd said in astonishment, "These are martial monarch experts. How many experts are buried on these stone steps? Even martial monarchs cannot escape the fate of death." Chapter 122. Ji Changkong did not say anything and continued walking forward. The crowd slowly followed behind him. They had already fallen to such a state, there was no way out for them. Suddenly, a martial saint of the Jiang clan said in astonishment, "There seems to be a person in front." Everyone looked up carefully. There seemed to be a vague figure standing on about 100 steps in front, his back facing them. How could there be someone here? The entrance to the underground palace was clearly opened by the Duanmu clan. Aside from that, there should be no other entrance. How did this person come in? Furthermore, he was in front of them. The more they thought about it, the stranger they felt. Ji Changkong grasped the sword in his hand and a resplendent starry sky appeared in his eyes. A boundless river of stars brewed in his body, ready to make a move at any time. The people behind him also tensed up, storing up power and waiting for an opportunity. When everyone saw the figure's appearance, they all sucked in a breath of cold air. It was a headless corpse with a long sword on his back. There were piles of white bones under his feet, and there were even a few purple skeletons. However, he still stood there proudly. It was unknown how many years had passed. His body gave off the aura of the cycle of time. A faint pressure spread out into the surroundings. The starry sky in Ji Changkong's eyes disappeared. He said with some astonishment, "This is the corpse of a martial sage. Looking at his clothes, he should not be from the ancient era. Even a martial sage died here. What exactly is the origin of this stone platform?" A martial saint exclaimed in horror. A martial sage was someone who could split the mountains and split the earth, move the mountains and drain the seas. Ji Changkong shook his head and said, "Don't overthink it. This martial sage was obviously killed by someone. He did not die on these stone steps. Otherwise, his corpse would have turned into a pile of white bones long ago." Just at this moment, Hua Yunfei suddenly walked over to the corpse with an excited expression. He looked at the symbol of the holy river on the collar of the corpse's clothes and said loudly, "This is a senior of my Hua clan." After Hua Yunfei spoke, he looked around the corpse carefully. He pushed aside a pile of bones and saw a row of small words on the stone steps. He read it out in a low voice, "Hua Tianyu stops here. If any Hua clan descendant comes looking for you, please leave quickly." Hua Tianyu? Isn't that the third patriarch of the Hua clan? Legend has it that the Hua family's most talented family head disappeared in his later years. Some people guessed that he had advanced to the level of Emperor Wu. Who would have thought that he would actually die here? Someone said in surprise. Hua Yunfei said calmly, "This corpse belongs to an ancestor of my Hua clan. I don't think you will fight with me over his belongings." After he spoke, he prepared to retrieve Hua Tianyu's spatial ring. The spatial ring of a martial sage would definitely contain valuable treasures. Hu Qi. A black sword was placed horizontally in front of him. Ji Changkong smiled coldly, "Hua Yunfei, have you forgotten what you said so quickly? If we find the treasure, no matter what, we will have to share it according to the family. You won't go back on your word, right?" Hua Yunfei's expression turned cold. "What do you mean by this? This is my Hua clan's clan head. His belongings belong to my Hua clan in the first place. Why should I share it with you?" Jiang Mingxuan snorted coldly, "This is an ownerless corpse. It has already been 1,000 years. He died in the wilderness. He is a secret treasure in itself. Everyone worked hard for us to reach this place. Why should your Hua clan benefit so easily? The people of the other noble clans did not want the Hua clan to benefit so easily. Logically speaking, this corpse did belong to the Hua clan. However, in the face of true benefits, who would reason with you? Hua Yunfei was unable to suppress everyone, so he could not stop the greed of others. Hua Yunfei was so angry that he laughed. He said, "Good, 3 times, Ji Changkong, I will remember you. Also, Jiang Mingxuan, don't think that the Ji clan can protect you forever." Xiao Chen pushed aside the sword in front of him and removed Hua Tianyu's spatial ring. With a thought, he poured out everything inside. Hua la la. A large pile of things fell out. Spirit stones, medicinal pills, spirit weapons, martial techniques, battle armor, they covered the entire stone steps. The large pile of spirit stones was especially eye-catching. In this large pile of inferior-grade spirit stones, the crowd even saw a few medial-grade spirit stones. These were true treasures. The disciples of the noble clans all had some inferior-grade spirit stones on them. However, it was impossible for them to have medial-grade spirit stones. Spirit stones were natural ores. The spiritual energy they contained was not only pure but also large in quantity. To a low-ranked cultivator, it could raise their cultivation by a small realm. To a high-ranked cultivator, it could quickly replenish their exhausted essence. However, there were very few spirit mines in the great Qin nation. Every noble clan only controlled 1 or 2 mines. Furthermore, they were not good quality mines. It was impossible for them to produce superior-grade spirit stones. Even medial-grade spirit stones were rare. Ji Changkong smiled faintly, "Brother Hua, that's right. With these spirit stones, there will be more hope for everyone to reach the peak of the stone platform." After Ji Changkong spoke, he lowered his head to the ground and sorted out the things that came out of the spatial ring. Suddenly, he saw a broken sword. He smiled and said, "Brother Hua, there is no need to split this sword. You can keep it. This should be a damaged holy weapon. If you can repair it completely, then Brother Hua, you will benefit greatly." Hua Yunfei casually tossed the broken sword that Ji Changkong handed over. He said angrily, "Ji Changkong, don't go overboard." Ji Changkong smiled gently and said indifferently, "Don't be angry, Brother Hua. I have already sorted out the things for you. There is a total of 10 medial-grade spirit stones, about 100 inferior-grade spirit stones, 3 earth-ranked martial techniques, 3 earth-ranked spirit weapons, 1 earth-ranked battle armor, and 5 bottles of all sorts of rank 6 medicinal pills." Everyone was astonished. The things that a martial sage carried were indeed horrifying. The value of these things added together was more than what the Jiang clan had accumulated over hundreds of years. Ji Changkong took out the martial techniques and handed them to Hua Yunfei. "This is your Hua clan's martial techniques. Naturally, there is no reason for it to be leaked to the outer sect. Keep it properly and I will not be counted." Hua Yunfei's expression was sullen as he held the martial techniques in his hand. He did not say anything. Anyone who saw their clan head's treasures being split by an outsider would not be in a good mood. Under the gloomy expressions of the Hua clan's people, the group of people did not spend much time splitting the things on the ground. Although the items in Hua Tianyu's spatial ring were very precious, the most eye-catching were the 10 medial-grade spirit stones. The other things were treasures to some of the smaller clans. However, to the noble clans, they were not rare. Only the medial-grade spirit stones were the rarest. In times of need, they could even save the life of the holder. In the end, the Hua clan obtained 3 medial-grade spirit stones. The other 3 noble clans obtained 2 each. Because of Ji Changkong, the Jiang clan obtained 1 as well. After the distribution was completed, the group continued on their way, stepping over Hua Tianyu's corpse. As they advanced, they felt that every step was incomparably difficult. The essence in their bodies was drained even more intensely. The corpses on the stone steps were even more horrifying. There were no longer any white skeletons, they were all purple martial monarchs. The rows of them caused everyone to tremble in fear. After climbing another 100 steps, the group actually saw another corpse standing in front of them. The aura of this corpse was even denser than Hua Tianyu's. Even though this corpse had been dead for an unknown number of years, the group still felt pressure. "This is one of the clan heads of my Ji clan," Ji Changkong suddenly said excitedly. The head of this corpse had been chopped off as well. However, the clothes the corpse wore revealed the identity of this person. Ji Changkong started to dig up the skeletons on the ground with all his might. A row of small words appeared before his eyes. He read it out in a low voice, "Ji Haoyun, stop here. If any Ji clan descendant comes, please leave quickly." Ji Haoyun was also a genius clan head of the Ji clan. Back then, he already had one foot in the realm of Emperor Wu. He was from the same generation as Hua Tianyu. However, Ji Haoyun did not expect him to end up here as well. Suddenly, Hua Yunfei laughed loudly, "Haha. Ji Changkong, you did not expect such a scene, right?" He took a big step forward and pushed Ji Changkong to the side. Ji Changkong glared at him angrily, "Hua Yunfei, what are you trying to do?" Ji Changkong had been stuck at the peak of Martial Grand Master for many years. Earlier, when he saw the Sage Dao attainment diagram, he instantly comprehended it and broke through to Martial Saint. At this moment, he did not care about Hua Yunfei at all. Hua Yunfei smiled coldly, "If you do not hand over all the treasures of this person, I, Hua Yunfei, will fight with my life on the line. There is no need for everyone to go up." Ji Changkong laughed coldly and said in a cold voice, "Hua Yunfei, are you seeking death?" The 6 martial saints of the Jiang clan and 7 martial saints of the Ji clan behind him all stepped forward. They looked at Hua Yunfei with killing intent. Hua Yunfei led the 6 martial saints behind him and looked at Ji Changkong fearlessly. There was no intention of backing down in his gaze. The atmosphere immediately became very tense. A huge battle was about to break out at any moment. Duan Muking suddenly said, "I feel that this place is not simple. If we continue forward, we will definitely see the corpses of the martial sages of the various noble clans." When Ji Changkong heard this, he was startled. He turned around and looked at the endless steps in front of him. Countless stars appeared in his eyes and a boundless river of stars appeared behind him. Astral swordplay, eternal light. Ji Changkong shouted and one of his faded stars in the boundless river of stars suddenly lit up. A resplendent light rushed to the sky. It was so dazzling that no one dared to look directly at it. The light flickered and Ji Changkong pointed the sword in his hand forward. A blinding white light shot up to the stone steps. In an instant, the scene in front appeared before everyone's eyes. Chi! Everyone took a deep breath. The stone steps were filled with white bones. They were densely packed together, dazzling everyone's eyes. There was a headless corpse standing at regular intervals on the stone steps. Everyone felt their hearts go numb. The sight of headless martial sages standing in front of them was too shocking. How could there be so many headless corpses? No one would find it strange if there were only 1 or 2. However, there were so many headless corpses. This was startling. These were bona fide martial sages. Splitting mountains and rocks, overturning rivers and seas would be as easy as flipping their hands. How could someone chop off all their heads? On the other side of the stone steps, Chu Chaoyun carried his sword on his back and slowly walked up the stone steps. The holy weapon behind him gave off a faint light, making it seem like he was walking on flat ground. He walked leisurely and very relaxed.